very few prices that made themselves apparent, but it didn't take away from the general atmosphere and the excitement for so many players, the ones that will be competing today, right in until we crown a NHC champion who will take home $825,000. Lots to do, and it's also, of course, Twin Spires weekend preview. It's Friday, and even though it's a rather quiet weekend on the Triple Crown front, the prep season front with just Virginia, and we'll talk about what was going on yesterday. Little weather issue in New Kent yesterday, and then up and down the East Coast. Actually, it was raining in New York. It was raining, it was teeming, it was snowing at Colonial. That was quite a scene, and of course, the great Travis Stone managing to identify horses successfully when was possible. No, it wasn't that bad in terms of the visibility, but it did. There was but 2 races where it was next to impossible to see. Rick Hammerly, we're back at the former Fronton here at Horseshoe, former Bally's. What other formers was here?
I think Bally's is the big former for people like me who've been coming here for decades, and you were just talking about that a minute ago. Used to be able to name every hotel right in a row, and things changed. But this room, Steve, as we walk into it, I think it gets bigger every year. I mean, it's amazing. When we at the end at 100, I see 150 over here. So there's 150 tables, round tables with I think 8 seats around them, and most of them will be full of enthusiastic horse players. At least today, they'll all be enthusiastic.
Well, next 2 days, because nobody gets eliminated today.
That's right. So I just found out there's a total of 651 players here today to start things out with a combined 828 entries. Obviously, X amount of those players double qualified, and there's nothing like it. The room is just alive with racing and horse racing lovers, and it's one of the reasons that we come back here. Is it's just I liken it to going to a concert where everyone's there for one reason, and the music. And in this sense, horse racing is the music. It's great.
Yesterday, you had another record set with the last chance, first chance, and there'll be 32 extra seats. There were 32 extra seats awarded for this year, and then 15. In other words, there were 15 players amongst the leaderboard that already had 2 seats into today. So they take their successful finish and use it for next year. So 15 qualifiers for 27. The monies yesterday, even 167,000, and the winner, who we will talk to, I think, in a little bit. It's actually a pretty fun story. Our friend Joe Valenti, who people heard from yesterday, Joe's pal Chubbs. They're together all the time, and Chubbs' girlfriend Michelle. She's a very casual player. But she sat there with the DRF and just the philosophy, she said, I just want to pick winners. I'm not going to worry about the price. And yesterday was a perfect scenario for yesterday because there were really only 2 or 3 substantial prices, and there was nothing resembling a cap horse. So there were no late charges, and although Chris Littlemore came from way back to end up 6th, and it's just funny sometimes when the leaderboard spins, names catch your eye, and you see somebody, and former champion like Chris, And I looked up at one point. I think I saw him. He was 58th. Then I look up. He was in the 30s. And then the final flash, there he was at 6th. And there's a couple different philosophies, Rick, about playing yesterday. There's some that did not want to use their energy, and they wanted to conserve the energy for today. And then there's others that like to get into the mindset and into the selection flow, and basically get the yayas out by playing in the last chance. It's two different. AJ Benton said, "I'm not devoting any mental exercise to this." He said, "I want to be ready for Friday and Saturday."
Oddly enough, I sat here yesterday evening. Not that many people around, and I met one person on each side of that. One said, "I can't wait to start the action." Gets off the plane Tuesday, in here ready to go, wouldn't miss a minute of it. And just like you said, second one was, "Nope, I'm going to be fresh tomorrow." And you mentioned earlier about just picking the winners. It reminds me of our friend and champion from 2 years ago, Mike Gillum, who came from nowhere picking horses that won, that didn't pay a whole lot, but he just grinded it up. And so you're going to hear during the day or during the next 3 days when we talk to different handicappers, they're different styles. Some don't play anything under 5-1. Some just play to win, and it's amazing. There's no right way.
Well, the one thing that everybody, or I think the vast majority, will tell you, and especially the really seasoned veterans that have been here, 8, 10, 12, 17 times. You have a number in mind, and the various cut lines. What did Roger Satina say yesterday? You want what did he say? 100 and here. In fact, I've got the cut lines. I got the cut lines from the last. It's been about $175. So I think Roger said you want to shoot for like $100 a day. And yeah, here's the cut lines that on Saturday. 176 last year, 174, 163, 156 back in 22, 172, 198. So basically $175 is essentially a target that you want. I'm watching.
That was the day 2 cut.
To
get in.
Yeah, to make it to the semifinal on Sunday. And the official number, the top 10%. David, you ready? David Goodfriend, everybody, the one and only Maven. And I tell you, at some point in the next couple of days with David, the Curmudge. He doesn't go by Maven much anymore. The Curmudge is his preferred moniker, but he is doing something really nice. He's the youngest player that is involved. The two extremes, 21-year-old Jason Santilla, and Bill Alberg is the oldest player at 90. But Dave is basically mentoring Jason, and as he got into it and got interested in qualifying, played in 4 contests and won 2 of them. So knows what he's doing, and getting the young blood involved is a big positive.
But I can't think of a better person to mentor you along in a contest like this, because at 21, I mean, I don't know what it was like in here yesterday, but today it's going to be packed, and it's probably an intimidating room for a 21-year-old to come into first time action. So if you've got someone guiding you along, that's good for Dave.
Well, in fact, in terms of guiding us along, let's get a couple of little couple of hints. I left the second half a little bit open. Rich Yang, we already told you, Rich is not going to be with us, in the afternoons and evening. He's not up to it, and we understand completely. But we will talk to Rich today, and I know he'll want to wish everybody best of luck. But Callie Francois is going to join us early. Callie, there's no racing in Laurel, obviously, Saturday. They couldn't fill after, for the most part, I think everybody went down toward, opted toward Colonial and the opportunity there. So Callie's going to join us and go over the Virginia action. And Keith Shamblin, who's actually going to, you want to do it now? I guess it isn't now. Keith Shamblin is going to join us now. We were thinking we're going to be a little bit later. Then KK, we'll get Kevin Kirstein. We got to do the future wager. And, of course, this is your weekend to bet the Oaks as well as the Oaks Derby double. The only pool that'll include the Phillies, David Aragona later, and many others. Keith Shamblin, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Thrilled to have you here again.
Well, it's our pleasure. And yesterday, it just seems, as we talked, the introductory contest, a smashing success, and a record every year. There were even suggestions I heard yesterday evening. Some people already clamoring for a Wednesday last chance.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Let's do it. Why not?
A number of people said even if this room wasn't ready, they could maybe do it in the sports book downstairs.
Sure.
If it was like 300 people, 200
World Series
people.
of Poker, the whole month should be horse racing contests
There we go.
to
All right.
the NHC. Why not? Why not us? Love it. You know?
Give us a little recap from your perspective, and then we've got the original breaking news when it comes to the next few years of this event.
Yesterday was just incredible. Over 1,000 entries for the second year in a row. Boggles my mind, the growth, and it's just a lot of fun and thrilling day, and kind of lets us work out if there are any kinks, but there really aren't. But at least we can watch for them, and then today will be another smashing success with a record purse and record prize money, and with travel awards and cash over $5 million offered. And think back, I was telling some buddies of mine that I text with the other day that this is my 27th NHC, spending 10 days in Las Vegas, and one of my buddies said, "That's nearly a year." I'm like, holy cow.
In Vegas years, And one thing about the tournament, Keith, it's sort of evolved into March, and seems like we found a home. Right?
I think this is it, and we're thrilled to be announcing today a 3-year extension, and with the Horseshoe through 2029, and they've been a terrific partner and host. The Caesars brand is committed to horse racing around the country, and just the perfect venue in the heart of the Strip. You couldn't be more in the heart of the Strip than Horseshoe. And extension today, and we're shifting next year to early March, 8 weeks out from the Derby. Some terrific racing, and we'll have Triple Crown preps on the East Coast, the West Coast, Midwest, and of course in Florida, New York, everywhere. It should be great venue, weekend of racing and competition, and hopefully just continue to grow the NHC. But we're delighted to announce today extending the partnership with Caesars. So be a lot of fun, and give a lot of credit to Tom Rooney and just Caesars in general. Joe Morris, who's the senior VP of racing for Caesars, and Dan Shapiro, Mark Grodsky, a lot of guys that help make it happen on the Caesars side. But thrilled to thrilled to announce the extension.
And a very germane point here, the first weekend in March, the next 2 years, so 27 and 28 will be the first, as Keith's indicating, and then in 2029, back to the second weekend.
Correct.
Was there was there anything that drove that in particular?
Just space, being able to get the room, and that's it. And if something changes in the next 18 months that allows us to secure the first weekend, we'll probably shift to the first weekend again. But the main thing is get the dates on the calendar so tracks can plan for it, people can plan for it, and know what's coming. So we've done that, and the hard part's over.
Yeah, interesting. It seems to have fallen on this weekend, which is not a big Derby prep weekend. If Colonial didn't come along and put up the Virginia Derby, it would be an off weekend for that. But as far as in town goes, I mean, March Madness is revving up, so there's just lots of action here.
Yep.
But horse racing wise, that first weekend is going to be a little bit more, eyes on the Derby preps. And,
I think so.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Yeah. So we're excited and thrilled. And, again, you can always have weather issues. We know that. And, there was snow yesterday at 3 racetracks. That was unbelievable. Colonial looked like a blizzard.
Colonial was rough. I mean, they had the longest periods. New York had rain, and then the rain moved into Philly as well.
Yeah.
Philly was dry early on that card, and you basically not pressed into service. But Philly is not usually part of the lineup. But given the Thursday schedule, you took advantage of the opportunity to include them.
Anything's better than January. Yeah.
They did something nice that I think we caught on to as the day was going. They had named on their overnight. They had basically named every race for any number of champions and multiple qualifiers. Trey Styles was honored. I saw Dan Piazza, but when they were flashing up, when they were transitioning from a previous race to the next, I thought that was a nice touch.
It was terrific. It was great to honor
nice.
The horse player. And anytime in any way we can possibly recognize the horse player, it's a good thing.
No, and it came unannounced, I think, right? Because was anybody aware until it started to flash on the screen?
No,
I didn't think so. It was kind of funny. And I was with Dan Piazza, and I said, Dan, look at this. And he hadn't noticed it. And then people started to watch it, and then I saw Trey Styles actually put out a tweet, that he appreciated it. He thought it was a nice gesture. And I'm curious if it wasn't on there overnight.
No, because I had the overnight and I looked at that, and like Keith said, we need more of this. I mean, we got.
And they'll coordinate. I mean, you coordinate with the track announcers for the mandatories, and Matt Dinnerman and every all the various track announcers, Travis down to Colonial. And when there's a mandatory, they'll say, what. Best of luck to everybody out at Horseshoe.
And then the tracks themselves, I remember years ago used to call, because we Santa Anita, one of the late races, and I'd always try to tuck a few races there that were going to be competitive to end this contest.
That everybody's still trying to do that, but it gets harder and harder. My goodness, not easy.
Keith, how about a quick format overview, and that includes what has been a slight tweak, all right, the last couple of years with more optionals for players.
Optionals on day one. Well, what we've really done is just we've limited the number of, there's less mandatories on day one and more on day two when we have the better racing. And I think it's been a good shift, and more optionals on day two, because there's just, better racing on Saturday than Friday. And The total number hasn't changed, which has allowed players who annually are kind of looking at the cut line, looking at things like that. None of that's changed given the overall 2 days of the tournament. But it's still, if you're around $150 toward the end of day 2, you're one horse away from making the cut line.
Give a quick, bottom line when you say optionals and mandatories. Explain that to maybe the newcomer doesn't understand quite what that means.
Yeah, it's just we've got multiple tracks that are part of the contest, and then we've got you have to play a certain number of optional plays, and then everybody in the contest has to play the mandatories. And those have already been announced, but for both Friday and Saturday. We'll announce the Sunday final table races will probably come out later today. And the semifinals. Those are 10 straight optional plays Sunday morning, and everybody will play that. Then we've got something we did introduce a couple of years ago, the Silver Sunday contest, $100,000 free entry, free roll contest on Sunday. So even if you've had a tough 2 days, there's a reason to come back on Sunday and play the 17 races on Sunday afternoon that comprise the Silver Sunday contest, and and have a shot at $100,000, and plus keeps everybody in the room, keeps everybody engaged through the final table.
Yep.
Where we get to watch and crown a champion every year. So it's worked out very well, and we've looked at tweaking things here and there, and for the most part, though, we're very happy with the current format and just want to continue and really just focus on growing the purse. That's really what's most important to us.
Well, and then that's been a topic. Then, of course, the champ, Michael Byk, the $1 million man, and the objective has been to start to get regular $1 million winners in the NHC. Today, 6 mandatories, 10 optionals, and then on Saturday, 8 mandatory, 12 optionals. So everybody in the room will play 16 today and 20 on Saturday. And the top 10%, which is going to be 83
players. Yep.
Will make it to Sunday. And Mike Gillum's name has come up. Even people that are sitting 78th on Sunday morning can rally and get themselves to the final table and even win, which is what Mike did. It's
really all about just making that cut,
Exactly.
And then anything can happen after that. So
that's what you're counting on.
Should be a lot of fun.
So today's first mandatory, just for those out there, is the 5th at Gulfstream, which comes up at 11:51 our time here. And when that race comes up, there'll be a little tenseness in the air. You can always tell when a mandatory is coming up.
Was there any issue? Did Laurel, I suppose Colonial just subs essentially for Laurel under the circumstances with them unable to run Saturday.
Exactly. And, Laurel probably should have taken the weekend off.
Yeah.
Because everybody went to Colonial, but, they tried and just couldn't fill. And, they'll come back. They back on Sunday, but there's not much on Sunday at Laurel either. And when it turns out, a lot of short fields, unfortunately.
Well, and that, yesterday, as it happens, that was really everybody, I would say, with about an hour and a half to go, 2 hours to go. It was interesting. I was over with Clocker John and the Matisses and company, and nobody could believe how low the scores were. But this is really part and part that the tracks are facing in terms. This is the biggest. We had this discussion a lot this week while we were in Ocala, and had a great conversation with David and Gordo yesterday. And I'll get to some more OBS. OBS finished very well, including tying the seven-figure sellers. And it's interesting. 7 was the operative word. The average was up 7%, and the median was up 7%. And there were $7 million sellers. So they came up sevens at OBS. But yeah, the betting product is that's the biggest problem we've got, is putting a compelling and engaging product out there for the players. And that, that's to me, it continues to be our biggest issue.
It might be the biggest challenge to increasing the number of contests on NHC week is where's the content going to come from to hold a contest on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If you wanted to grow the number of last chance opportunities to qualify into the NHC, there's just not a lot of competitive racing out there on certain days of the week, and it's a challenge.
Well, that's a big rabbit hole to go down, but things started this way. I'm going to say 10 years ago we could start to see it, and instead of running less with more, sometimes less is more, we start having these 10, 11, 12, 14 race cards. And through the years, and now we're at the point now where we really do have to adjust as an industry and figure out a schedule that maybe people are racing less, but the racing is better, and there's more more horses in the races.
Yeah, well, it's a national product.
Well, sure it is.
Yeah.
There's just less. There's just less foals. I mean, it's a numbers game. It's not anything we want, but I can see on the contest front, the bigger the field, the better for everybody involved.
Sure.
And that's just on a day-to-day basis. But those of us that play in contests, whether online or here, it does get frustrating. And there seems to be a lot more scratches out there as well, too. I mean, eights turn into sixes, and sevens turn into fives, and
very true.
It's you do the work at night, and you come in the next morning, you check the scratches, and oh my gosh, what happened? So we need to sit down at a proverbial table and figure out a good schedule, and regionally, especially in the crowded areas, need to sit down and work out schedules where everybody benefits.
Yep.
Speaking of schedules, and I'm just looking at the mandatories and how things are going to lay out. The Turfway 6th, both days will be the last race tonight and on Saturday. You're using Turfway 1 through 6. So you're looking at that's about 8:30. It's about 8:30 Eastern. I'm gonna guess we'll go probably 3:30 to 8:30 each day makes the most sense. We'll miss, so this way we'll only miss one mandatory. The Gulfstream 5th later this afternoon is kind of early, and then there's not another mandatory until 1:15 Pacific, 4:15. So let's say 3:30. Expect us 3:30 to 8:30 each of these next 3 afternoons.
Eastern.
Yeah. All right. That's as much for Brian pushing the buttons back in Albany, and obviously on the stream at stevebyk.com, and we'll send out the links. And there's certainly no shortage of coverage. There's going to be cutaways from FanDuel, and there's there'll be plenty out there for everybody to absorb. The leaderboard, if you go to ntra.com, it'll be on the lead page, so you can watch. And that's one thing that's happened here. It's almost real time, a real time leaderboard these days.
Absolutely. As soon as the race goes official,
yep,
it's up on the leaderboard, which is great.
It is great.
One big improvement from the early years. But it's just that's what everybody wants,
because you never know when that next race is going to go off. You need to,
of course,
you need to see. It just reminds me of the old days here with the chalkboards behind the, when they would change the odds and write the prices on with the chalk.
No chalkboards anymore
at the Stardust. Yeah, no, the big, and the way they have the room set up, there's no bad seat in the house. Anyway, you're looking, there's the big screens and the big boards, and you can read them all. So you're no excuse to miss a race or
1,200 seats in here. So and not a bad seat in the house. Right.
No, it's a great. The room gets better and better. Hammer made that point too. And the field, Keith, before we wrap up, and we'll have tons of the personalities over the next couple of afternoons and even into the evenings. The field is a little different. It feels like there's a lot of fairly new players that have made their way. And in fact, we should talk about the rookie tour and the involvement.
We've seen more and more newcomers every year, and we've got over 100 rookies this year in the room, and it's great to see it's great to see familiar faces, and it's great to see and and one of them, which is terrific.
You mentioned, do you have a rookie tour? Do you have a non-winners of a sweepstakes?
Yeah, we'll honor them on Sunday night.
No, man, during the year.
Yeah,
you have contests that are strictly for.
We do
that are
non-qualifiers to the NHC are only eligible to play certain contests. So, that's something we heard early on was when the tour was in its infancy, was that people were worried that, well, I'm a minnow, I don't want to play with sharks every day or every week. So we said, okay, let's have some competition competing, and it's proven to be very popular.
Now, where would one go to find those? Horse players?
Horseplayers.com.
Okay.
Be the best place, or ntra.com. We list them, and they're a lot of fun.
Good.
A lot of fun.
Well, and on Sunday we got the play along, right?
Absolutely, got the play along contest, and it'll be a little different because we don't have all of the content from every racetrack that we're offering out here. We don't have those online, but we'll have a lot of races on Sunday that people from home can play along and kind of follow what's happening out here and go from there.
Oh, it's the first free. It's the first free contest of the year.
Yep,
for everybody.
So,
and I think 5 players.
Punch the ticket to the NHC.
Yeah. So for free, you can play for free. Can't beat that.
Exactly. Yep. Keith Chamblin, congratulations to everybody involved in another 3 years at Horseshoe Vegas. And as you said, Caesar's a wonderful partner, one of the gaming companies that enjoys being associated with racing. And that says a lot.
Absolutely. We're thrilled to be here, thrilled to be back, and excited to extend the relationship for the next 3 years. And appreciate you guys coming out here. I know it's a busy time of the year. Steve, it seems like you're in a different city every weekend between now and through the Triple Crown. But we're delighted to host you guys in Vegas this time of year.
I love it. It's sort of a cap for me. It caps a this 5 flows from venue to venue.
So my only regret is that the Grateful Dead's not playing at the Sphere.
9 times I counted. I looked at my stubs. I went 9 times.
You've already been there 9 times.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Only 9 times. I think I cut a couple of them out. And what's
funny.
I mean, the whole thing's. I ended up either staying here because of the proximity to the Sphere. The only way to go to the Sphere is to walk there. So there's here and there's a place down the road called the Tapestry or something. But people say, "Where do you stay?" Bellagio. I go, "No, I stay at the Horseshoe." What are you talking about? I said, "It's great. Here, I walk over there. It's great." But yeah, no, I wish I was checking the lineup. I said maybe it's going to be, one more show. But no, I was 9 times over there, and each one was better than the next.
Unbelievable.
Well, and right now they're apparently who was it that we talked to that saw in there, and they say it's a blowing experience of all things. They're getting $200 to see The Wizard of Oz, which all of us have basically been seeing for free for 60 years. But but they say it's somebody. I ran into somebody this week, and it's her favorite movie. The wife wanted to go, and they went and raved about the experience. He said she was beside herself. He said, but it was pretty amazing, and he said it was worth the $200. So they continue to come up with new and different options.
You do owe it to yourself if you're a frequent visitor to Las Vegas to go over. I mean, you could watch Gunsmoke in there that would turn it into
Sure.
a bizarre experience. But
what Star Wars is going to be like?
Oh, there you go.
Put that on the big screen.
Is that coming? Is that
it will? It's
that
too.
You would think.
It's one of the things that yes. Imagine having a weekly show, but do the Sphere if you come here.
Keith, we'll check in as the weekend unfolds.
Yes, we will. Should be fun. Fun day. We're
Brian,
kicking off today.
Brian Skirka will join us. We'll check in with Jim Goodman and much, much more. But 3 more years, the big news, 3 more years here at Horseshoe Vegas. And standing by, Callie Francois doing the work and was part of the Twin Spires jury for the action at Colonial, and hopefully they got the unpleasant weather out of the way yesterday. Callie, good morning.
Hello, Steve.
Hammer's here too, Rick Hammerly.
I thought I heard him. Hi. How are you?
Hi, Callie. I've heard your voice. Haven't seen.
Discuss that later. How's everybody doing in Vegas?
They're ready. I think everybody's. I think everybody that needs to be here is here, and they're ready to start firing. And we're not long now. We'll start to march toward Sunday night and a champion. Final table action and much, much more. Meanwhile, back there, you've got Saturday. You got Saturday to yourself, and you've been working on this Colonial card. And I will mention yesterday, under duress, there was actually a race yesterday, Colonial, that was very noteworthy because Safi Joseph sent Code Review out of that big maiden performance, sent Code Review up for this, and it turned in another good performance. This is an Uncle Mo colt for C2 and partners, Tammy Bobo, who's had herself a big week, including selling $1 million 2-year-old. Code Review, it didn't get much faster, frankly. Basically paired up his fig, 78. But that race remains notable. And then later in the afternoon, you had the little stake, which nobody could see the internals with the snow flying.
I know, that was
right?
wild because it was 80. It was 70 degrees the day before. It just welcome to March.
Exactly, and well, we didn't play. It's already March 13th. We did not play our traditional March 1st Belushi in like an anteater, out like an antelope tape. Digital ops of Safi Josephs and Jeff Drowns the Nyquist 5-year-old now, and coming out of a good effort at Tampa. Digital Ops eventually moved away from that field. Was the second choice behind Stowaway for Whit Beckman. So that was the first of the stakes that are happening at Colonial. Callie, let's dive into this and talk about the Derby and the Oaks first. Start with the Derby.
Okay. Sorry, let me scroll down to there. Okay, we got Steve, I mean, I think this is a touch more of a wide open affair with the exception of High Camp. So when I was on the Twin Spire show, I gave out a price and clocker special, and I do believe that. But High Camp, I think, for Will Walden is just going to be – this horse is not only bred, just phenomenally bred to go 2 turns. The Grand Am won a listed stakes going 1.1 miles and was second in the Spinster to Emollient, but just wildly visually impressed with this one last time out. Just was overcoming the turn, very relaxed, and came back at Gulfstream, which I think coming back, just with that flashy just turn of foot kind of speaks to itself. The gallop out was beautiful. So High Camp, you definitely want to pay attention to. A must use if you're using on tickets, which I will cover on the Pick 5 show for Twin Spires in just momentarily. But the price I kind of shoot for here is the Rudy Brissett with Clocker's special. So listen, the horse has to move up, and I get that. But you're getting a lot of these, and a lot of these horses bounced in that effort next time out. But this is the only horse that's running not at Oaklawn Park next time out. So I'm giving him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there. But I will say that on a visual standpoint, that was his first time routing. He ran very efficiently. He didn't take too much out of himself. He stayed with the winner in the gallop out. So I just think there's a less propensity to bounce out of that field. So there was a certain gameness. So when inevitably those closers come, I won't be surprised if this one stays pretty game. So just kind of throwing that out there as a little bit of a price. Obviously, everybody's going to be looking at Butane, the Baffert horse. I think that, there's just a little bit of, he obviously came in, with those blinkers on, coming in stretching out as well, doing the 2-turn business. And I think he may just need one more race to really be super polished on it. But I mean, I won't be surprised if the horse shows up as well. What are you looking at right now in that race?
Well, we did.
I could sit there and make a case for almost every horse in here. That's the way I'm looking at this race.
We did the win using Theragraph with Crafty yesterday, and from a price standpoint, that he and I agreed. The interesting price is Whit Beckman with Ocelli.
So here's my comment for that. So I think Reagan's Honor for Cherie that's a nice upcoming horse from that effort 2 back, and the connection said this guy can be a bit immature, and that's where the key is for me, is with the blinkers on and with Joe Ramos. You look at the way that Joe Ramos rode this horse in that first start and that was the only opportunity he had to do. But it was shorter. It was going 1 turn, but it was measured. It was a very focused effort. And sometimes with these types that he is, he just needs a firm hand is all. And Joe's been the only one to really give him that. So I could definitely see that for sure.
Well, and he's got what is the healthiest 3-year-old pattern. 3-year-olds, obviously started November and December as a 2-year-old, but he paired those 2 races. He paired right up. Then he moved forward in the maiden. He's still a maiden, but in that last maiden race before they tried him in the Sam Davis, and one more step forward, and he's a competitor in here, and he's the best price. Everybody else essentially. High Camp 9-2, Confessional 4-1.
I'm not buying that. I'm not. I'm not on it.
He's okay. I mean,
that jock had to start scrubbing so early. Like, I just think there's a whole lot that this one's going to have to that the Cox horse is going to have to overcome mentally. He's going to get caught in a crowded position, and the blinkers are going to help, but he's got some business to get done here. And I think for the price of Ocelli, for sure.
Well, let me ask you one question. The diagram shows a 1-turn 1 1/8. Is it 1 turn there at Colonial?
Yeah, it's they got a back shoot there.
Okay, that's pretty wild in itself, right? And let's keep in mind, as we keep adding these Derby preps, they kind of thin out. Let's keep in mind 8 of the 10 here are eligible for a first condition allowance race. So anything's liable to happen. The only two horses in here that have won more than one race, Lock, Stock, and Pharaoh, who's coming from Turfway, and
Tommy Drury,
and he's run good over there. It's the old first time dirt, and he's 5-1 the program. I don't know if he's going to drift up a little bit, but an interesting look. And incredible to, face it. Let's face it, you just have to put a line through the last effort. Whatever happened, whatever. If you like him, he has a good number to go back to. But another interesting horse to look at, who before that had won the Street Sense, in nice order. And but it just wanted to point that out. So some of the prices in here, if Butane, to me, if Butane doesn't run his race, this race is absolutely wide open.
Oh, yeah. I think I agree. And, you talk about Lock, Stock, and Pharaoh. I mean, that horse is just totally on the muscle. He's ready to go. I mean, I can't wait to see that horse run. The dam's only win was going around on the dirt, too. So,
well, you're looking at an American Pharaoh out of a Nyquist mare. And so the stretch out to another furlong, 9 furlongs, and nothing would be better than Tommy Drury back to the Derby. That could be a wonderful story. I will mention, you talked about Clocker Special on the outside. That group, that Storyteller Racing and Rudy Brissett, they were active at the sale this week. Storyteller, I saw that they
nice.
They picked off a few. And in fact, I'm going to tell you, because it caught my eye, because I kept seeing their name all week. Here you go, Storyteller Racing. They bought a $350,000 Mandaloon colt. They bought a $135,000 Greatest Honor, who actually had a very solid sale. A Greatest Honor filly. They bought a $250,000 Yoppin colt, and then another filly for $400,000, a Blame filly, who went in 9-4, which is not necessarily something you'd expect a Blame at this time of year to be firing off 9-4. So Storyteller Racing basically spending over $1 million on 4 hips this week at OBS, and as Callie mentions, Clocker Special, and with a 1-turn mile and an eighth. Not compromised at all by the 10 hole. So
exactly.
Nobody gets hurt from that standpoint. Callie, let's talk about the fillies. They're going to go the mile and a 16th, and $250,000 in here, and I think all eyes on Dazzling Dame, who was just literally dazzling in the Busanda, and basically Brittany Russell circled this on the calendar and has been pointing for it since January.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love that Bottle of Rouge is just outside of her. I mean, essentially, she's going to be the perfect target for the Baffert horse, who did, put in a good enough effort to move forward from last time out. But Dazzling Dame is the type that she does here. What I love is that you go on a little bit on the way back, and this one she does have the ability to rate, but being on the inside, she's going to go for it. The speed figures stack up here, so I can 100% see her just kind of going off of it. But that Whitney Clark effort at Delaware, she stumbled and she was really able to rate before besting. So if anything does happen out of the gate, there is a little bit of a fail safe there that I would trust that she's able to navigate a trip if anything happens out of the gate. But obviously the connection's very, very high on her, and rightly so. So yeah, Steve, no notes for Dazzling Dame.
Yeah,
in a good way.
This could be for those that haven't haven't noticed her along the way, because January 3rd actually feels what 7 weeks ago. So
my birthday, by the way,
10 weeks ago. That's right. That's the most important part about January 3rd.
No, so and it's a good spacing, and she's up there at Fair Hill with Emma, and I know that Emma's got good. Emma Wolf, her assistant, just high things to say about her.
What about the Styles filly, the Munnings, Some Money to Love? On the buyer scale, people are going to look at her and think that she's, a 50-1 outsider. However, when you pull up Thurgraph, that maiden breaker up at Parks, she's a Pennsylvania bred, and that win at Parks got an 8 on Thurgraph, which makes her as fast as Bottle of Rouge.
She's got to be, well, and then, all right, so.
Stretching back out to a mile and a 16th there.
Which is kind of what she needed. She needed to go short to just kind of, get that extra oomph to understand how to get the job done. And so now that it's kind of clicked on mentally, I could do, for 20-1, why not?
She's going to pick up pieces, and as you pointed out, I mean, we talk about Dazzling Dame inside, and then Bottle of Rouge pressing her. Then there's also Cadabra. There's the Wertheimer homebred, the Good Magic filly coming out of the Suncoast, where she chased Zany. She could add to the pace as well. It's funny. It's an unusual 6-pack. You got 3 speeds and you got 3 closers.
Which is why when I wanted to really highlight that fact about Dazzling Dame, that she belongs on the lead, but she doesn't need it essentially. So when it comes to Cadabra, listen, the second routing factor for this homebred, she held off well enough for that first 2-turn effort against the horse that, was essentially supposed to win. But the Grand Dam won the Alabama, being a front runner in very similar style. So she likes being on the front end. She doesn't like company, but this one doesn't sulk quite like her Grand Dam did. So I do expect a better finish, but I still think she likes, having it her way, and she's not going to have it her way today on Saturday.
The Virginia Oaks, and as we're laying out, goes through Dazzling Dame. Let's look at a few other spots on the on this card, and in addition to the stake act, things out. There's the Sandy Bottom, a 1 mile for the fillies and mares, 2 divisions actually.
A couple of Sandy Bottoms.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve McMahon's going to probably win both of them.
Let's talk about I'm glad you said that and the way you said it, because Hugh McMahon has got two really interesting horses, and I had not really noticed that Passage East through that Barbara Fritchie, that she was piling up the wins, and she, for those who don't realize, she's won 8 of her last 9, and there hasn't been 2 words about her publicly.
I love it. So, Beth did Take the Money, Honey, who is just lighting up the track over here in Maryland. That mare is 10 for 10 first or second, and when she loses, it's never more than ahead. So, and then Take the Money, Honey last out just last week, I think. That's the Dwelling Legacy, who Passage East, beat in the What a Summer overnight handicap. So this is a claim for 30,000. So the mile works are very normal for Hugh, and Passage East and Think Fast have been working together. So just keep that in mind.
Well, if you want to fold in, fill out the first division first, the 6th.
Okay, really quickly. Okay, so I go 1, 7, 2, 6 here. When it comes to her laugh, she weirdly kind of took herself out of it a little bit, and so I just see a little bit of contempt there, which means there's a possibility that they'll try and push her a little bit to get more forward into the race, but I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that, because there's a bit of a theory in possibly overcorrecting. So if she runs the same race, she'll love this stretch, but there is the worry of that. But it was weird how she kind of took herself out of the race a little bit. So Zadorsky got me intrigued last time out. If it's, I wish we had the rain, because if it was a sloppy track, this is a must use, but the different surface might have woken this one up. The distance is perfect. Galloped out of the head of the field last time out. So.
All right. Well, the 7th, the other division, it might be a little bit more competitive. Starts with Think Fast, who is moving in the right direction, but there's another Queen Azteca, certainly, the Brissett Team Valor, Eunomia for Safi Joseph, who's already successfully shipped up.
I think she's vulnerable though right now, especially with the distance. Yeah. Runway Diva. She's easy on herself, and I think she's aching to get back to the distance.
All right, the two divisions.
Yep.
I know you've got Twin Spires at the top of the hour. What'd you do in the nightcap in the anchor leg of that late pick 5?
And we went with Michael Trombetta and McLean's Rook at 7-8-2-3 there.
All right, 7-8. That horse O'Reilly's is seems like he's got some momentum. Steez, the 2.
McLean's Rook has been running against Quince Brew, and what's the next horse that he keeps battling with? I get the Riley love. I get it, but I think what is my note on Steez? I'm not necessarily. This is we got the indication that this horse is going to have this kind of campaign before that turf run. I just think this one doesn't have a ton of dimension tactics-wise, but this one is game when challenged. I just worry that this one is going to be passed right in the end there. So I worry also just from that effort last time out, he may bounce a little bit. I just think that last effort took a lot out of him.
All right. Well, it's a good sequence, and there'll be more coverage of that pick 5 at Twin Spires. Callie, I appreciate it.
Perfect.
We'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. And good luck to everybody out there in the big competition.
Beautiful. Callie Francois. The top of the hour, and KK is going to join us. We've got the Turfway season arcing toward its finish before the Keeneland action picks up. And there's quite a big, I did see quite a big Jeff Ruby possible and probable list during the week. We've got the Kentucky Derby future wager as well as the only Oaks Pool opportunity. So we'll catch up with Kevin and see if we can't talk him into trying to get out here for next year. He had qualified, but it's actually getting to be a little bit little while between drinks as we wait for KK. By the way, had last night with Clocker and Rock Edwards. Rock actually a gracious host. He was the sponsor last night. The Golden Steer, my maiden breaker at the Golden Steer.
We're
very good.
Not a Golden Steer. Where's
very
that?
good. It's what would you say? Yeah, no.
Where is it? What hotel is it in?
It's not in a hotel. It's in a strip. It's like it's the old Vegas strip center. Since 1948 or whatever it is.
You see, I tell this story. I've probably been here over 100 times, and when you live close, you don't come to eat. I don't come to eat. I don't come to go to the pool. I come to gamble and have a few pops with friends and then go home. So people always say, "Oh, what about this? What about that? You see the show?" No, I haven't. So when you mention restaurants, chances are I'm at a table somewhere at 8 o'clock at night doing that. Those were the old days, of course. Wink, wink. But no, you people. I did used to eat at the steakhouse here at Bally's, and that's how I know that this was Bally's, because I used to meet a friend here for dinner here, and then but the rest of them, now grab a buffet along the way and get back to the tables was just always my motto. So
one track hammer.
Well, look, when you're a 4-hour drive, and sometimes back in the day you'd come three people in the car, and between you had $100. You were playing and hoping for a free drink every now and again, and then drive back home. So it wasn't a 3-day stay. It was the times you spent more than 36 hours here, and you count on one hand. But the town's a little different. So I probably have been to more restaurants in the past 2 years than I had the last prior 40. It's pretty funny.
Well, if you, as you described that, you're basically, I can see the scene in Swingers, where Mike is getting over that breakup, and John Favreau. It's so good, and he and he and what's his name, Vince Vaughn. They come to Vegas for for that exact experience.
Yeah. If your friends got money, you're not broke.
There you go.
That's how it goes.
There you go.
And it used to be there was the cocktail waitress a lot more prevalent. You could just walk up to a slot machine and pretend you were pulling the lever, and they would come up and offer you a drink. And you had to get good. Yeah, you had to get good at that.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
But yeah, no, a lot of fun times here. Like I said before, people would always say, "Oh, the pool at the Flamingo is great." Oh, that's nice. Okay, where are you staying? The Flamingo. I haven't seen the pool. But anyway, Vegas. It was a different time back then. I would definitely say that.
Just remember at breakfast anytime. Yes, I'll have pancakes in the Age of Enlightenment. It's one of the great. Yeah, hang on, Voltaire. There's Kevin Kirstein is standing by. KK, good morning. Why aren't you here?
Good morning, guys. Well, I'm on I-71 on the way to Turfway, so I guess I can use that excuse as well.
All right.
As long as you're heading to a racetrack, you got a good excuse, Kevin.
Yeah, I pulled the double with a Churchill this morning. Now heading up to Turfway. It should be a great weekend of racing around the country.
How's the weather where you are? I know you had tornadoes in the mid. Did anything affect you guys yesterday?
No, luckily we were all right by us. It's just been, a wild winter, just like we saw at Colonial yesterday when it was 85 2 days ago and snow. It's been a little bit like this in Kentucky. And, we had a little bit of that up at Turfway. So, yeah, it's going to get cold early in the next week. And then I think Ruby Day is supposed to be like 65 and sunny. So hopefully spring is finally going to be here in Kentucky.
Well, you mentioned Ruby, and there's some Ruby intended runners that are part of this fifth pool. And this is, in a lot of ways, this is maybe the most fun pool because we still have got so many big preps. And this is maybe the last chance to get a crazy value. And, of course, the Phillies, the only opportunity to bet the Oaks future. And boy, that 3-year-old, if people think the Derby picture is sort of blasé or murky, the Oaks picture really is murky. So KK, let's talk about these pools.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting pool, and you led off with it with betting the Oaks Derby double as part of this pool. It's the lone pool for the Longines Kentucky Oaks to pari-mutually bet on that race before the Longines Kentucky Oaks on Friday, May 1st in 49 days. And, it was a difficult to come up with both of these pools for Darren Rogers and myself. I think there's a little bit on the Oaks that you can argue could be top heavy, and then there's a lot of fillies that sort of look like one another right now in the past performances that still have maybe not shown their best in the championship series, but likely we'll see some of their best in the next couple of weeks. And then in the pool 5 of the Kentucky Derby future wager, there's 3, I think, clear horses that could take favoritism, and I think favoritism could swap between any of the 3 of them, between Paladin, Nearly, and Commandment. And so when you're looking at this pool and some of the favorites for the Oaks pool that will run this weekend, maybe see if you like any of the favorites in either or of those pools and pair up with some longer prices for the Oaks Derby double. That's what I'm currently going to do, is sort of look at those will pays that you can get online and see what the most value is. If you don't like the price of them in each one of those pools individually, pair them up in that Oaks Derby double.
There's a couple of horses competing internationally, and this is probably as good a time as any to talk about them. You've got, frankly, the one we talked about with Kate Hunter that she kind of opened everybody's eyes to, and that's Danon Bourbon, listed here as the 11th, alphabetically, 75-1. So here's an obvious fresh face. This is probably ahead of we don't know yet about the World Cup and the UAE Derby, but there is the presence of Pyromancer and 6-Speed to consider. Pyromancer 90-1 and 6-Speed 90-1.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting with the Euro Mid East on the road to the Kentucky Derby. As you know, just obviously us talking now, we're planning on it running on March the 28th. So with Six Speed and Saloon, sort of the two horses that take the most interest in at least in that race of Derby prospects. It's not to say that Al Haram, who's going to be in that race, who won the Saudi Derby, can't necessarily get himself a late Triple Crown nominated and qualify for the Kentucky Derby through that series. But really, the Japan road to the Kentucky Derby between Lucky Kid, Pyromancer, and Dan and Bourbon, those three horses that we used in this pool, I'm really interested to see what comes out of Japan from those three horses, because I think, as Kate Hunter said on the show with Dan and Bourbon, he just was very visually impressive, winning his allowance race over there and trying to upset the likes of the Godolphin owned and bred Pyromancer and Lucky Kid. So if you want to take a shot on any of the three in Japan, that's why I sort of made Danon Bourbon a slight favorite compared to the three of them at 75. And then in the UAE, in the Euro Mid East road to the Kentucky Derby, it's what Saloon do we see? Do we see him actually compete? And then Six Speed, who was very impressive, maybe a little bit forgotten about, and that's why made him at 90 on my 147-point line that everybody called me out on.
This is a little odd. We obviously with a 40-horse field. Cherokee Nation, we have to talk about 20-1, and I'll be very interested to see where his number goes. KK, I had a second opportunity to talk to Baffert at Ocala. We had the Tuesday quick hit, and we couldn't remember. We both he and I couldn't come up with Cherokee Nation, even though we knew his prospects. And he's going to go into the Santa Anita Derby the way Baeza did last year, and 20-1, Cherokee Nation. Something tells me he ends up in the teens by Sunday night.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The Santa Anita Derby is shaping up to be quite the race. And I think in the last couple of years, we've sort of seen maybe, borderline if it's going to be awarded the full points or, 75% of the points just because of the field size in the Santa Anita Derby. But I feel like, as we saw exiting the San Felipe with several contenders that are eyeing the Santa Anita Derby now, and then Cherokee Nation sort of one of the new contenders that could be in there. He sort of might lead this Baffert class now if with the disappointment of Brandt. So I think all eyes will be on him come April the 4th in Santa Anita.
Baffert specifically actually said that his hopes are Cherokee Nation and Potenti at this point. Potenti is 15-1 coming off that San Felipe win. And, there's a few horses that are going to get tested for distance. And I think maybe, I don't know if the most interesting is Iron Honor. Yeah, maybe he is. He's a Nyquist out of the Blame Mare, and Chad pretty much didn't hesitate after the Gotham win, to acknowledge that he would get a mile and an eighth test. And 25-1, this is the chance. This is the chance to bet Iron Honor.
It is, because if he goes and wins the Wood, and it is impressive coming into the Kentucky Derby after winning the Wood, that price is cut in half in the Derby. So now is the chance for him. We used, speaking of Chad, we used Canaletto in here. We sort of know Chad's past performances of what he can do out of the Tampa Bay Derby. Does he go to Lexington to the Preakness, or does he give Canaletto another shot in a race like the Bluegrass to qualify for the Kentucky Derby? We'll see. And so those connections haven't made up their minds yet, but we decided to use him in the pool just because there hasn't been word yet officially on the plans for him. But Iron Honor sort of seems to me Chad's, other top contender if you don't like the price on Paladin. And Paladin could be the real deal. We'll see in the Bluegrass. So, and if the value isn't there for you, at that Oaks Derby double, look at Exactas.
Yep.
There's plenty of options to have.
Go ahead.
I was just going to throw in you mentioned Paladin, of course, deservedly the price he is, but Chip Honcho, who hung on doggedly against him in the Risen Star, is and I'm looking for numbers. He's 50-1 in here, and you say, oh, maybe some distance limitations going a mile and a quarter. I don't know. But at 50-1, he ran a good race against Paladin there. We'll check him out. Another one that threw in a clunker in his first race of the year is Blackout Time, who ran a good second in the Breeders' Futurity against Ted Nafi. Come back and he got beat 8 lengths in the Rebel, which is not terrible. And there's a chance where you get a price on him before he runs back again too. A couple that I was looking at, and I'm glad you mentioned if we didn't learn our lesson with Forever Young on the Japanese front, we almost cashed on that one, but I would say pick one of those. I was looking at Pyromancer myself, just to you got 90-1 in here, and I would take anything close to that to throw a few shekels on.
It's interesting that you mentioned of like the disappointment with Blackout Time too, Hammer, because there's been several of these 2-year-olds that have really stood out last year that have disappointed in their seasonal debuts. And I don't know if it's disappointed or maybe just aren't quite ready yet. Brant, Blackout Time, Napoleon Solo, Litmus Test. You can name several horses. And so if you're willing to forgive sort of their 3-year-old debuts and having them improve in their final start before the Derby, there's value to be had on those type of horses.
You mentioned the other two, Kevin, and with these horses making such few starts, so many, you have to, I think at some point, if you have faith, you have to be able to give them a break on the comeback. And this horse had a good 2-year-old year, and then you say, he ran okay, just came up a little short, but the beauty of these futures is we actually get to bet these now before they run back, and that's what we're looking for. He comes back next, whenever he comes back in the Arkansas Derby, say, and runs, wins or runs 1-2, well, that price is 15. So you get the price today. That's the beauty of it.
Okay, and the Arkansas Derby is run. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, Steve. The Arkansas Derby is run before the final full 6 of the Kentucky Derby Future Wage, which is April 2nd through the 4th. So if you like anyone Arkansas Derby, Florida Derby that are aiming towards their prices are going to reflect that full 6.
Should include the Ruby probables, and there's a few that are on this list that will come back out of the Battaglia. Great White for John Enos, 50-1 full effort for Brad Cox, who really has really done very little wrong. Never been out of a super. It's his 7th start, and feels like a horse that is still developing. This is a Starlight Vinny Viola product, the Liam's map for Cox, and got beat just the neck by Great White in the Battaglia. That field, by the way, Argos is intended, apparently, Brad Cox, Baytown Dreamer, Paul McEntee, Jack Sisterson's sending Brave Force, Chaos Agent for Josie Carroll, full effort that we're talking about, Great White. We're mentioning Maximus Prime, Stark Contrast coming from California, Steel Imperium for Kaio Karamori. Graham Motion's going to, that's right, he had mentioned Turf Star heading in this direction, and Kevin Attard and Al Gold got 2-out Hero coming back in the spot as well. So it looks like a nice gate for the Ruby, and 2 candidates here in full effort and Great White separated by a neck in that Battaglia.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see. In my eyes, I feel like full effort could be a shorter price in the Ruby than Great White. He sort of has a tough trip in there, and so I think gamblers will see that and make him a bit shorter than Great White. Even though Great White, I think the longer the distances are, the better he will get. Just the way that he's built, he's a very large 3-year-old and a late foal. He's I think a mid-May foal. So the longer the distances, the better for him. And then Stark Contrast shipping in for Michael McCarthy, who's sending a couple of horses from Santa Anita down here to Kentucky, and should have a large presence up at Turfway Park that weekend. Stark Contrast being one of them. Maybe we'll see Endlessly, who was the Jeff Ruby winner, come in the Twin Spires Kentucky Cup Classic.
In fact, I'm just looking. The Thorograph package is available at Thorograph.com. Look forward to seeing those and comparing this group. The Phillies, quick glance at the Phillies. Dazzling Dame, obviously, with her Oaks Dry bottle of Rouge as well. There'll be clear referendum on them for Sunday. Hit Parade, another. But in a lot of ways, Kay, you look at this group. There's a lot of horses on here that are really undefined at this point in the season.
It's so true, and there's I think horses have been dynamic at a mile, and can they stretch out that extra furlong to the mile and eighth and the Longines Kentucky Oaks? So, and I think aside from Zany and Bella Ballerina, there's really a lot of them that can be bunched up together according to their prices, and so really looking forward to seeing what the wagering is like on these. And a filly that sort of hasn't been seen yet that we know is talented is Percy's Bar, who's aiming for the Ashland. She's working at Keeneland, working lights out down there. And now would be the time to try and, if you're a Percy's Bar fan, you might get, an inflated price on her because there's some others in this pool that are sort of the now fillies that have made their 3-year-old debuts that have won already this season, and she's been on the sidelines. But in my eyes, it's not the worst thing in the world for a filly to have one race before the Oaks because it's only a mile and an eighth. A mile and a quarter is a different beast from the Derby. But, having one prep before the Oaks isn't the worst thing in the world, I think.
As I thumb through these figs, there's a couple of back on the boys' side that I think are going to surprise some people, including the bomb of Doug O'Neill's Robusta, who ran a 1 and change in that San Felipe. That's an eye popper. Going through the girls, Bella Ballerina, Bottle of Rouge, a single digit. That Brooklyn Blonde of McCarthy's is moving in the right direction. Counting Stars, Dazzling Dame ran a 5 in the Busanda. Explorer, of course, is no surprise. Forced Entry, she paired up. Just Singing. There's an interesting number. Just Singing with third in the Rachel Alexandra, and I would give Kent Sweezy's filly at 50-1 a long look.
Big fan of Ken Sweezy, and of course, Mandy Pope does so much for this industry. Would love to see them in the Kentucky Oaks with Just Singing if she can get there, because you're right. It's just sort of looking for those fillies that are going in the right direction. And Just Singing ran, I thought, a credible race in her first start off of a little bit of a freshening. So she's one of those. If you believe that she is, there's the value for you.
I made Love Your Neighbor 30-1, and she was in between. She was in between Just Singing and Bella Ballerina. And what's interesting, Kate, the referendum for people on Bella Ballerina, because there were plenty of people who walked away from that Rachel Alexandra sort of nonplussed by her effort. And granted, she was off 60 days, but people seemed underwhelmed by that performance. So, love your neighbor's effort, and you're going to get 8 times the price.
Yeah, and that really, is going to be a fun race in that Fairgrounds Oaks next Saturday between Love Your Neighbor, Bella Ballerina, Life of Joy is going to be in there as well. It'll be a shorter field, but I think it's going to be a very key race that we'll see next Saturday down at Fairgrounds.
I'll give you another one, and again, I'm just this is my first glance at the third graph figures, and you may want to give. Where did it go? I just had it and I lost it. The horse of Lindsay Schultz.
Newtown Pike.
Newtown Pike. Give Newtown Pike a glance, 60-1. Beating the neck in that Martha Washington. Newtown Pike, that's a 6 3/4 and she's moved in her 3 starts. She's moved steadily forward. McKinsey out of a trap shot mare, and what's nice about somebody like Lindsay Schultz, it just isn't going to take the money, isn't going to get the attention, that the big barns get.
That's so true. Or, with 39 individual fillies in here, she's one that, when you have the Baffords and the Coxes that are well represented, she might go
Pletcher. And a lot of Pletcher,
too, yeah.
Without a
lot
doubt.
Of Pletcher.
All right. Well, this is my favorite pool. The Bet the Oaks, the Derby horse. There's a bunch of Derby horses we just went through, and there is going to be value on Sunday night. 6 and 6:30.
6 and 6:30 free pass performances. I'll have them on my X account, Horse Racing KK. Derby Media has them out there, I think, already, as well as free pass performances for the Virginia Derby that will be on Saturday as well. So lots happening, and 50 days out from the first Saturday in May, and this is a great kickstart to Derby madness, which is here already.
What about madness for the Queen Stakes tomorrow night at Turfway?
Yeah, wide open affair for the Queen Stakes. That'll be the featured event tomorrow night at Turfway Park. Light the Spirit is sort of who I would gamble on. Who I've just always been a fan of hers, and I lean towards her and the Queen, which is featured on the 10 race card tomorrow. Through all day tomorrow for the Jeff Ruby Stakes and the Jeff Ruby card. So those entries will be out late afternoon, early afternoon if you're in Vegas at the NHC, as well as the Louisiana Derby card as well. So a lot happening, and excited to gamble on tomorrow night's card, and really looking forward to next week for Jeff Ruby Day and Louisiana Derby Day. We'll have the Bayou Bluegrass 5 that'll return the 2-track pick 5 that'll between Fairgrounds and up at Turfway Park. 3 races at Fairgrounds, 2 races at Turfway Park. More information will come on that on Monday afternoon.
Will there be? Here's the biggest proposition of the day and the weekend. Will there be a trip up to Camp Washington for some conies and some 3-ways?
It's interesting. I was trying to figure out what's for lunch today. I forgot I have to meet someone at noon at Turfway, so I can't. Lunch today might be a little bit tough. Might have to go down to Dixie Chili right in Erlanger, which is down the road from Turfway. But
nothing wrong
plenty
with
of
Dixie.
options, I think, next week. Yeah, Camp Washington though is the best.
I will ask you a restaurant question. How's the new Walt's Ribs? I haven't been there in years.
The steaks have become the star, but they're still doing the ribs. The ribs are
cooking them in the parking lot.
Yep, out in that little area, to the left. The Walt's Hitching Post, after being shuttered for a few years, the new ownership, and they're gung ho. You can go in there and see, I think, a 1965 trophy from the Cradle. Which is in a glass case. Long time racetracker hangout. Have you been, KK, to Walt's Hitching Post?
You're gonna get on me for this. I have not been there.
That's an embarrassing admission, and
it really is. I can't lie. I'm a bad liar. PR guy should be like, oh yeah, I've been there. Of course, yeah, this side or the other. I haven't been there.
Well, get to Walt's Hitching Post. I'm always happy to give them a plug. KK, great to catch up. The racing's been good at Turfway, and arcing toward the big finish, and the Ruby, and the Bourbonnette Oaks, and everything that comes with that. And we'll obviously dig into it next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Good luck this weekend, guys, and make sure you get Clocker John on the show. I know he's itching to give you his opinion.
You know that's 100% not true. He is happy. He is happy to come on and chat a little, but he's not giving away.
Not this weekend.
No, he's keeping him close to the vest. The man. And hey, by the way, go Birds. And Kay, he's off to a nice start at Belmont.
I love that. Yeah, go Birds, and maybe we can see Go Birds sometime in Kentucky with Amelia having some horses down here. So that would be the jackpot. But I know that's probably not likely, but you never know.
Well, let him clear his New York bred conditions, and then we'll worry about coming to.
We got another Bird fan in Kentucky.
Well, KK.
Yeah,
born and raised.
Okay.
215, the FA, the Illadelph.
6399000.
I was technically at 610. I still am with my phone number.
All right, well,
I'm a Philly suburb.
I was going to say the
215.
the bridge and tunnel crowd, as they say in New York. KK, enjoy it up there, and I'm looking forward to next week. I am still toying. I am still toying with a Ruby run.
Hey, easy in and out access at the Northern Kentucky Airport at CBG. Be happy to come pick you up.
All right, I may take you up on that. You know, guys. Kevin Kirstein, every dozen Derby horses. I have not hit a Derby, an Oaks Derby future. My one Oaks hit was quite nice for 800 and change, but the opportunity is unique and generally has offered value. We're going to head toward the break. And when we come back, Scully, we got ourselves James's Kentucky Derby report from last week. See about what he thought about Patenti and Robusta, as well as Tampa, and the results there with the Puma. We were quite happy with the Puma. And as we go to the break, let me give you the fine next week. Obviously, when we're home, we'll have a chance to probably with Sid to dig into these final numbers. But I did print a couple different reports from the sale, including alphabetically, so I can see how all the stallions did. And as we said Monday going into the sale, drain the clock. An absolute star. Only 2 RNAs of the ones that went through the ring, and that was like 30 of them. There were only 2 RNAs. The sell-through was really strong. So I've got to dig into this, and I will tell you that as I mentioned at the top of the show, 7-figure sellers, matching last year, and slight new record in terms of the gross. The median and the average both up 7%. The sale exceeded expectations, and the best part, and the thing I want to really follow up on next week is with some of the pinhookers, because while the overall results are notable, some of those individual scores, and we hit on a couple of them these last. Talked to us in advance of the sale. I saw him briefly. He wanted to buy yesterday, so yep, Seth, absolutely. Seth Morris Thoroughbreds, and he about an hour before, he said I think we're going to have a home run coming up, and he did. The only $1 million seller.
He had sent me this. We were back and forth. He sent me this text, and he hopefully hopefully we hit one out of the park when he did. So
back to Horseshoe Las Vegas, the NHC, second half, Twin Spires weekend preview. James Scully joins us next.
Races with Steve Byk on Sirius XM Radio.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We featuring hooks, fist pump your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. Offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action to thrill horse racing with Naira Bets. $200 deposit match with promo Steve200. Visit NairaBets.com for details.
Horses power Virginia's economy, creating over 38,000 good, fulfilling jobs every year. Think about the farmers, the farriers, the feeders, the athletes, trainers, drivers, and jockeys, caretakers and landscapers, investors and interns, veterinarians, restaurant owners, restaurant workers, tour guides, trail guides, equine therapists, and so many more. Now that's horsepower. Virginia's economy wins with horses.
The Pennsylvania breeding program is the best program in the country. The stallion awards, the owner bonuses, also the restricted races for Pennsylvania breds. 321 Pennsylvania breeders earned breeders awards. 22 Pennsylvania breeders earned over $100,000. We have the best program in the country. Take advantage of the fantastic program that we have. Learn more at pabred.com.
Nothing compares to a horse. They inspire greatness, command respect. Because Virginia's horse industry isn't just racing and farming. It's built on the skills, labors, and passions of dedicated people working in every industry throughout our state. Horses fuel the economy, create jobs, support thousands of families, and even make dreams come true. Virginia's economy wins with horses. Find out more at virginiahorseracing.com.
Now, back to At the Races with Steve Byk on Sirius XM Radio.
Ooh, Las Vegas, ain't no place for a purple like me. Las Vegas, ain't no place for a purple like me. Every time I hit your Crystal City, you know you're gonna make a red out of me.
There we go, our first Vegas cut. One of our hits. The opportunities are starting to, tables are starting to fill up, and looking around the room, probably about 80 people that have settled in for the morning, and Scully is settled in for a weekend of action. James, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Happy Friday the 13th to you, and hope your day is going well out in Las Vegas.
We're off to a good start, and a reminder, we'll be back each day. It looks like we're going to go 3:30 to 8:30 tonight and Saturday and Sunday. Probably a little past 8:30 particularly on Saturday and on Sunday, because there'll be interviews. Day one leader, day two leader, and then your champion. James, before I ask you about the future wagers, because you've always got an eye for a future wager price, let's get the Kentucky Derby report done first. And between Tampa and the San Felipe, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I came away. I mean, I like the Puma effort in the Tampa Bay Derby. I'm a little bit, he's going to have to step it up if he runs in another prep. Delgado indicated he wants to run him, and I think that would be good for him. But I do like how he switched styles seemingly after racing close to the pace in the first two starts. They took him back, and I thought it was a really good effort because he had to make multiple moves and got by Further Ado and Canaletto in deep stretch or mid stretch. So it's an effort to me where that horse is now, he needed that win big time. He wasn't going to win the CMF Davis despite the troubled trip he had. And I was a little worried about him after that race. So that's a good turnaround. And now I'd just like to see him run faster in the final prep. Potente, you got to look. You can look at the glass half full with him. He's now 2 for 2. Didn't make his debut till late January. It was pretty gutsy getting up to run down big long shot in the San Felipe. We'll see if Robusta runs back to that effort and justifies it. Maybe he's just come along right now for Doug O'Neill, but his form had been terrible coming into that race, so the jury's still out on those horses in the San Felipe, especially the top two, are going to have to run well in the Santa Anita Derby to really be viewed as viable win contenders.
All right. Well,
and as far as Further Ado goes, Further Ado ran well, I thought, to be second. He's a little bit one pace, so he's this horse, that's a little bit of the knock on Paladin is, just could be a little bit of a grinder. Now, both of them have tactical ability, and they both like to race up close to the pace. And one thing I see right now is there's just not a lot of any quality, for the race. Chip Honcho, he's still got to qualify in Louisiana Derby, but he could add pace. Of course, like Reagan's Honor looks like a real speedball who's going to go to the Bluegrass, and if he runs first or second, could be in the Derby. And of course, some other speed could come along in this final round of preps, but not a lot of speed signed on right now. Heading into this final round, Steve.
That probably a perfect segue to the future wager, and then we'll talk about what's going on the platform. You made reference to a few next stops, and this is the pool, James. There's going to be significant value on a lot of horses Sunday night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no better example, I think, than Renegade Steve. I saw a piece this week on Wednesday at the Caesar Sportsbook. He was listed 12-1, and he's 20-1 on the morning line with the potential to be a little bit overlooked. But to me, watch the money come in on him. The way I see it right now, I got 5 horses I think right now can win it. Paladin, Commandment, Chief Wallaby, Renegade, and Nearly. And I think that both Renegade and or Nearly could be a little bit overlooked with those other ones and other horses taking money. And if either one of those are double-digit odds, to me, they offer some value. In a sense, because like you said, you're trying to lock in a decent price that definitely could be much lower. I mean, I look at Renegade on every metric. His race in the Sam Davis was faster than the Tampa Bay Derby. He got a 97 first net speed rating, which is one of the best bigs this year, and he got a 111 late pace number. So there's a colt to me that has a lot going for him. Pletcher hasn't said whether he's running him in Arkansas or the Bluegrass. We'll see, but I'm a fan of that horse. I am going to make a small wager, though, on Reagan's Honor, Steve, because to me, this horse is, 25-1. Nobody's going to be betting him, I think. And if he got out on the lead in the Bluegrass and led wire to wire and stole that race or ran second, he's got a little bit of intrigue to me. I mean, he's still got a lot to prove, but I did like his allowance win last out at the fairgrounds.
What about the fillies?
Well, with the fillies, I'm going to take a shot, believe it or not, with well, first off, I'm going to price shop a little bit with a horse like Meaning because I think she could be overlooked in this pool. She's listed at 15-1. I think she definitely has a chance to run big in her final prep and be a much lower price on Oaks Day. So there's a filly to me that, hey, could be a contender that could lock in at a big odds. I'm going to make a small wager, too, on Percy's Bar. I think this horse is going to be completely overlooked. I thought that she ran 2 good races last year in the Alcibiades, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, when stretching to 2 turns. She's got a back-to-back half-mile and Bullet Works. Her last work fastest is 61 in preparation for her return. And these fillies, Steve, don't need a bunch of preps for the Oaks. Torpeda Anna, who was only stakes placed as a juvenile, wasn't favored in her first 2 races as a 3-year-old. Went Fantasy Oak, Kentucky Oaks. So this Percy's Bar, is a little intriguing to me because she's going to be a huge price. And if she comes back and runs well for Colebrook, all of a sudden she's going to be a contender.
Nice. That's the kind of perspective we're looking for. And you're right. She really is kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And she didn't have, she was much the best. So she was first by 3 lengths. She just ducked in unnecessarily in Alcibiades. And she just didn't have a good trip in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly. She was far back. She came with the run, but she was in tight, turning for home, had to pause, and then just sort of squeezed through. And as she squeezed through, she made contact with the inner rail. So I thought that was a good run for third, outfinished meaning in the stretch. And, she's a filly that, she's got some stamina in her bloodline. She could get a 1.8 miles. It's a 3-year-old filly. I think people look at her, they wonder if the non-furlongs will fit her. But she's got a shot because she really ran well when stretching the 2 turns last fall.
Very cool. All right, good job. Let's
James Hammer here. Just a quick question. Last 10 years or so, the Louisiana way to the Oaks has been good. Any of the horses coming out of the fairgrounds fillies coming out of the fairgrounds that you like for that price?
I not real Hammer, not really. I don't know. Obviously you're going to have Love Your Neighbor. I think is going to be the horse to beat in the Fairgrounds Oaks if she goes that spot for Stidham. And, there's a filly that you could look at because she's listed at 30-1 on the morning line now. And I thought she ran well. She collared Bella Ballerina, got beat, but she's a filly that's moving forward and could be dangerous in a sense. One thing about these 3-year-old fillies this year is that none of them have run very fast yet. I think a filly like She Be Smooth, they listed her at 10-1. I think she'll be overbet. She hasn't been 2 turns yet. She could be the goods. But I'm not taking a short price on her right now.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, Love Your Neighbor. That's a good point out.
Stidham's had a good winner. And I thought Just Singing was this is the time to get Just Singing while you're on that track. All right, James.
Definitely. And that's a filly that got no pace or was on a track that perhaps didn't favor or needed that race back. I like how Just Singing ran at Churchill, Steve. That's a good point right there. She could be. She could really come on, I think, for Kent Sweezy.
Well, and again, for those for Thoroughgraph users, you can go right on the front. It's click here for the special, and you'll get the package of both the Oaks and the Derby Future Wager horses in the package. So well worth it if you're taking a serious punch at the futures. James, let's get a quick update when it comes to the weekend on the platform. And, of course, we should include, when we talk about the tournaments, I looked it up earlier, and I can tell you officially twinspires.com is sending 28 qualifiers into the contest this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got Darren Zocali and Kyle Hampton are both out there from Twin Spires. They got a booth and, passing out, anything that any handicappers need. And we also have, this might be a good weekend to try to qualify. We've got this event on our tournament front at twinspires.com. On Saturday, we've got this Virginia Derby $800 Oaklawn/Virginia Derby Kentucky Derby betting challenge qualifier. You can win free seats to the KDVC on Derby Day. That's our biggest competition of the year. And, with everybody out there in Vegas, might be the time to strike in that contest or any of our contests. If you go to our tournaments tab at twinspires.com, we've got tournaments for all size bankrolls at various tracks. Lots of options out there today, tomorrow, and Sunday at Twin Spires.
Well, hit it and split it, 2,000 on the pick 5, and I know McCallie was involved too, taping the pick 5, the late pick 5 preview. So that's there. There's also, let's see, on Sunday, the rest of the month, You got a $2,500 win ladder at Oaklawn. So three more Sundays.
We got a bet back promotion at Colonial on races 6 through 9 on Saturday as well. So, make sure you definitely check out our offers page. We've got so many various tracks and promos going, and you need to opt in there to be eligible.
And you know what? I want to mention it because it's actually at the bottom of the scroll. And of course, last night was Thursday at Turfway. But hit 3 exactas on a Thursday the rest of the month in March. And there's a $3,000 hit it and split it. And I'm guessing there's been some pretty nice bonus money doing that.
Absolutely, and that's a relatively new promotion, I think, too, and it's been real popular. I've seen or heard, and as well. You mentioned we've got that going on. That one goes on at Turfway, I believe, the rest of the month, and then same at Oaklawn with the $2,500 one on Sunday. So lots of different various promos. The department at Twin Spires, they try to cater to many different options to all the players.
Well, and we don't talk about it a lot, but the harness action too. There's invariably and international. There's a little of everything. I'm seeing Mohawk offer Northfield. There's also we never talk about the reward points. There's some players that never even look at the reward points, and all of a sudden there's if you're a regular player, even if you're just a weekend warrior, suddenly there's all kinds of points that you can use, and like for instance 5 times at Tampa on Wednesdays in March. So go to the offers drop down and scroll through them on a daily basis, and the same could be said about the tournament opportunity. There's Colonial. Today, there's a $200 Colonial feeder, and it's a very good card at Colonial today. A bunch of allowances, two of those overnight handicaps, and the weather, I think, has cleared up. $200 Colonial Downs feeder for the Arkansas Derby, the big Arkansas Derby qualifier in a couple of weeks. Virtually every day, there's either feeders, and then when it comes to the weekends, the bigger pools. So something for every budget and for every kind of player. James, let's turn our attention to the weekend and Colonial, obviously the big Derby prep options, but there's other racing. What did you do?
Yeah, I'll start at Colonial, give some picks there. I also looked at the stakes at Oaklawn Park. In race number 5 is the Royal New Kent. It's at a mile, and the big favorite in this race is Dragoon Guard, who's coming back first time out for Belmont. I mean, to me, he doesn't have to win this race, and he's going to be poised for his next start at Churchill likely. I like Rolando. I mean, this horse ran a terrific race last August, winning a 1 mile stake, his last attempt at the distance. He ran well in his previous attempt at a 1 turn mile, so I don't think the distance will be any issue. And I just think, his speed's going to play very well off of a couple of tough sprint efforts going 6 furlongs at Tampa and Gulfstream Park. So I like Rolando, the 1 horse in race 5 tomorrow with Leperoux. Show inside speed.
It's amazing where all these horses come from. They put on a little 3-day meet, James, and they come from all over the place. And here's Rolando coming from Palm Meadows up there, and looking to upset Dragoon Guard. It was a Brad Cox trainee, but and then they end up splitting the Sandy Bottom, right? Before we hit into the Oaks and doubled, right?
Yeah, they sure do. They split the Sandy Bottom, and obviously, Hugh McMahon is well represented in both divisions. Passage East is the horse to beat in race 6, the first one, race 6. But, I'm not keen on her inside draw. Her lone win at this distance came when she got an outside stalking trip. And, it could be she got a great trip last year, I thought, when she won at Colonial as well. So I'm not keen on that inside draw. A horse that I'll definitely, I was intrigued by. I mean, I'm not in love with her, but number 4, Amalfi Drive, I thought had a chance to outrun her 12-1 morning line price. She was sidelined for nearly a year and a half. And I like her effort two back at Fairgrounds when she stretched out to a mile and 16. Last time out, she just got blown away by this horse that ran off and won by 10 lengths. But, she still did okay to finish second. And I think, she's back in fit and in form for Michael Stidham. And, she's kind of intriguing. So even if you like somebody else, that's one to consider. I thought it just even a, straight exactus.
And these one-turn miles you don't see a lot of them. So when you see the horses coming off the two turns, this horse, Amalfi Drive, looks like she's gonna love this one-turn mile.
And listen, I think it's going to be sunny later this morning and clear out some, but that track's going to still have some moisture in it. Yeah, I just looked at that Amalfi Drive's lone start on an off track, and boy, she just relished it. Won by 5 3/4 lengths, and so she'll definitely handle or maybe even relish any off going to today.
That's a good point.
Yeah. In the other division, that one has Eunomia, who's a big favorite in there. But her last two races at Gulfstream weren't that fast, and she just basically made the lead by default, I thought, both times on, just sort of controlled paces, and then had nothing left really last time for the Barrette. I like number 3, Think Fast. I think she's going to take it to him. I think that this is a filly with a big upside for McMahon. She came back 2 starts back at Laurel Park and made her first stakes debut after breaking her maiden by 20 and easily winning an entry-level allowance. And she won the battle but lost the war that day. Onyx 10 was 3-5 following a convincing win in the Maryland Millions Distaff. She was out on the lead. Think Fast, was out there cracking her, put her away in upper stretch, and this Grayson's girl just got the perfect trip to beat her. But she came back last time, ran a real big race, earned a big figure. She's really coming into her own right now, Think Fast, and I think she's going to, like I said, take it to them in the second division of the Sandy Bottom.
Well, like you said, Hugh McMahon's got holding nice cards in both of these. You mentioned Eunomia. I tell you, she's no Mystic Lake, but Safi has just been, if there's someone who does great at moving his fillies around. I mean, this will be the 7th track that she's run at, and he does a great job at picking the spots. And she may not be the one this time, but Think Fast came up with I think Callie was a Think Fast likes her as well. So heading into the Oaks, 6.
Callie's dialed into those Maryland horses, so that's I might not get 6-1 on her, but she's not going to be favored in there. As far as the Virginia Oaks go, I mean that's a tough race. I'm going to go with Hit Parade, and I'm just sort of going to draw a line to that Martha Washington. I thought she sort of got sucked into a real slow middle fraction in there, and then sort of got bumped around and just came up empty in the stretch. But that was sort of a weird, roughly run race. I really liked her untappable 2-back where she beat Love Your Neighbor. And I just expect this race to have some pace and not to slow down drastically after the opening quarter like they did last time. So I'm going to look for her to sit a better trip this time and be along in time, because it's just, to me, Dazzling Dame is obviously very dangerous, but she's going to have to deal with Cadabra up front, and possibly Bottle of Rouge will be breathing down their neck too. So I think Hit Parade could get the right setup, and I'm going to give her the edge in the Virginia Oaks.
Let me interject about Rad Ortiz was named, of course, on Hit Parade. He will not ride, obviously, after yesterday's wacky incident going through the rail. And I reached out to Steve Rushing, and Steve came back. He said, just really banged up and body sore. Hopefully he will return next week. So that kind of sounds like you may not see Irad until next weekend. He's certainly not going to. He'll certainly do everything he can, for stake mounts on a big stake weekend next week. So Rad Ortiz out for a few days.
Yeah, that's good news. That was a scary incident. And,
crazy. that means
those initial reports sounded okay, but I mean, you weren't going to know until they got him to the hospital and actually thoroughly looked at him.
Well, the hip, because it was the hip that was really bothering him, and so there was concern he might have had some sort of a pelvic fracture, even something, even a hairline type of a thing would be a problem. But
worst
came back
timing in the
clear.
world if it was. That's
exactly.
great news. The Virginia Derby. I got a kick out of this race last year being run at a 1-turn mile and an 8th distance. I think that, to me, Butane ran his fastest races last year in these 1-turn races, and Bafford's going to give him another chance in there. But I think there'll be some pace out there to be with him, and it's just a tough spot. I really like number 6, Lock, Stock, and Pharaoh in here for Tommy Drury. And I'm just going to say, the last 2 winners, guys, we have seen some really good dirt horses come out of Turfway. 2 years ago, Idiomatic broke her maiden there, won a couple allowances, and then went on to be champion older dirt female. And last year, Chunk of Gold came along as well, went on and won a Grade 3, the West Virginia Derby, and ran okay in some other bigger races. But Lock, Stock, and Pharaoh, first time out, he missed the start. Came up, rallied to get up, looked good doing it, but the race wasn't that fast. But last time, stretching to a 1-turn mile or 2-turn mile, to say he moved forward would be an understatement. He easily got the top last out speed rating last time, and I don't think we've seen the best of this raw up-and-coming gelding. He was on an absolute Morales asked him from speed from the gate because he was drawn on the far outside or towards the far outside, and on the far side. And when he made the lead, he put him under a hammer hold all down the back stretch. And sometimes you see these jockeys doing that, and, it can be a mirage. But when he got to the top of the lane, he just exploded for home, guys. And like I said, I mean, he's to me, he's going to keep, becoming more professional. He was a little bit in and out in the stretch, and he's still learning. And I think he has a big upside, has lots of dirt, stakes winners in his female family, and if he makes the transition, I think this is a really good gelding. So I'm going to go with Lock, Stock, and Pharaoh in the Virginia Derby.
A Tommy Drury horse in the Derby would just be magic. It'll be magic.
You mentioned that, James. If you think this horse has got dirt future, get him now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's in the pool, but his price will be affected by how he runs Saturday. At Oakland Park, they got a pair of stakes tomorrow. The first one is race number 8, the Purple Mountain, and in that race, Purple Martin. And in that race, there's clearly some speed signed on with number 1, Riverwind, number 4, Goodall, and number 7, You're in Heaven, all bringing it early. I like number 2, Wrong Shoes in there. She's listed at 8-1 for John Ortiz. And, she was a convincing winner, but it wasn't a fast race in a maiden claiming event at Keeneland 4 starts back. But she started to really improve her form when moving to Oakland Park 2 starts back, finishing a solid 4th in an allowance optional claiming event after a bad start. And she just continued to show more last time, finishing 2nd after an up-close stocky trip. Her figs for that effort were strong, and I like her projected setup. I look for her to be sitting back just behind the speed and in position to pounce, turning for home. So I'm going with Wrong Shoes and the Purple Martin.
Purple Martin.
Yeah, and she's 8-1. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I'm just turning to it because I want to see. I'm just curious. John Ortiz obviously, has been getting plenty of attention rash, with the rash of
39.
The rash of positive. And, we'll see. What.
Hold on this one. Are you guys there? Hello?
James, I'm sorry. We lost you there. No? Did we lose James too? All right. All right, grab him back because everybody's going to want a second Friday push. And he's got the Whitmore too. I think
got the Whitmore coming up.
Got the Whitmore.
And I got to say, last week when we had James on, and you asked him who he liked in the watered down Sandy Hills. I was having a bad day, and kind of clacked in my hand to one,
which was crazy. And I blew it. I blew it too. I blew it personally because I thought he's going to be completely overbet, and the dirt. I wasn't convinced about the dirt, but stamina. The mile and a quarter is the thing to remember and to hang on to from that, from that big cap result. But how he was that price was a shock.
Well, I actually got out on him.
I believe it.
At 7-1. It was one of those things. I looked at the board and I said, 7-1. I said, I was having a bad day, and it got me out of it. But I remember James echoing him. When you asked him about it, he immediately said it. It wasn't a thought. He goes, British Isles. Thank you very much.
There you go. He's back with us. And James, go ahead. The Whitmore.
Yeah, in the Whitmore, I think that several in here like the race prominently, but I think number 2, Rivet, has the speed to show the way from the inside. And I'm expecting a favorable trip on his favorite track at his favorite distance. I thought he ran well after not the best of trips in those last 2 stakes in Sunland. And I just really liked his Oaklawn win 3 back. So he's the 4-1 choice on the morning line. I'm expecting at least a decent price, and I'm gonna look for a strong effort from Rivet on the front end.
4-1 with Eric Asmussen, who's had just a tremendous winter.
Really
riding really well.
And I'm going to last second Friday push for you guys today.
All right, excited. Let's hear it.
It's at race 5 today. It's at Colonial Downs. It's an entry-level allowance at 7 furlongs. We have the 2 contenders in this race, guys, that have not run since breaking their maiden at 6 furlongs last April. And I'm not keen on the other 2 short price horses in here, Multiverse and Trust Issues. I like number 3, Roar Ready. He's been running at shorter. Had been running at shorter distances after Barbosa took over his training last year, but he stretched him back out to 7 furlongs last time. And man, he really appreciated the extra furlong. His figures came back strong for that effort. He's coming on now, and he's a 7 furlong horse. I don't know why he was running him at 5.5 a couple times. And I think he's like I said, coming on off that last race. And I think he's going to run well, Raheem Maras. So I got number 3, Roar Ready in today's 5th race.
At Colonial.
10-1. 10-1. And this is a nice group. There's a few. You mentioned Multiverse, and, of course, he's dirtied up after the heel clip incident.
Effort,
yeah, and on the grass. But getting back to the dirt, Peter Urton has got the horse for the Searings that he's already run once. This was not a horse that was recently transferred. This is a horse that debuted last January for John and ended up with Peter later on as Peter established that Keeneland string and broke the maiden at Keeneland. In fact, Dr. Park is who we're talking about, the 5. This is a really, really good card. Creed's Vision and a good race. Arnaud Delacour has got Creed's Vision for West Point on the outside, coming off that Tampa maiden breaker. That is absolutely competitive. Rapoli and Brittany Russell with the homebred of Mike's agreed. This is just one of several really good races that got those 2 handicaps too.
Because he ran okay. I mean, a lot of these horses have either not run at the distance or have not run well. And the one reason, but that was part of the appeal with Roar Ready. He's only got 2 wins, including his last. But he won back a couple years ago, and he got a best figure of his career. And that 94 speed rating is the best number at the distance.
Well,
easily
James,
in the field.
James, you
price
got
potential, we'll see.
you're scratched. We're scratched, James.
Are you serious, Steve?
Yeah, we're already spring decision and Gluckstadt, the 3-4-7 have all come out of this. So this thing has scratched down.
Yeah, I guess they're all
5.
scared of running against Dr. Park. That
there
horse
you
he
go.
beat last time at Keeneland, though, let me tell you, that cha-ching, I mean, he had to ship him normed into Colonial to break his maiden last August. He's like 1 for 9 or 10 or something. But, yeah, he definitely got the job done that day at 3-5.
Well, if you come up with a different last second Friday push, let us know.
All right, we'll do, Steve. Thanks so much. You guys have a great time in Vegas. Thanks,
Thanks, James. You got it. We'll talk next week. You go to Fairgrounds? I think he hung up.
He's the best. Love his selections and especially those Friday ones. I'm glad you came up with that. You're right. 3-4-7 came out of that race.
And there's actually pretty extensive scratches.
Yeah.
The 8th, the 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12 all came out. I mean, so you're down. That's a 7. You're down to a 5-horse field, and boy, this is going to make it very. There's 2 scratches in the 7th, so that's a 6-horse field. You got 3 out of the 8th, or is that the 6th? 3 out of the 6th. So that's a 4-horse field. This is not going to do the players any favors. Obviously. Wow. All right. Well, so be it. David Aragona is going to join us next, and Nick Tamaro is in the building somewhere. He's I know he was taping the Twin Spires, that Pick 5 preview show. So I expect Nick will turn up here in just a little bit at some point. I'm starting to look. The room is now maybe about 35% full, and we got former champ Mike Gillum over there. I see Mike chatting with Leo Vukmanovic. Big Leo in for the weekend. That's a high-powered table over there with Leo and
Mike
and the David. Well, I think Mike's sitting a little further down. And I'm just looking around. I'm seeing a few people that I didn't see yesterday because, of course, not everybody was here for the first chance, last chance yesterday. So, there's a lot of people who came in, essentially. And so we'll see a few of those. And in fact, I see our man. Oh my gosh, I've got to think of his name. And here he is, the clubhouse lawyer himself. We got to get a hello in. We got to get a hello in from Trey Styles.
They're naming races after him now.
I know.
Congratulations.
That was
Great.
wild. I look up. I didn't even know they were going to do that over at Parks.
Nobody knew. And I was standing over by Dan Piazza at I think around the 4th race, maybe 5th. And I saw Dan Piazza, and I said, Dan, look at this. They named the race. And then I realized what they were doing. And then I those were the only 2 I saw were yours and Piazza's.
Well, somebody came and told me beforehand that they had done Sally and Paul, and I figured, well, then we're in the same boat. So so I started looking, but I still didn't.
I did. You're right. I did see Sally, 24-time qualifier Sally Goodall.
I was clueless. Somebody yelled, "Hey Trey, look!" And I looked up. That's kind of who'd have thought Parks of all places would be the first place I ever got my name on a race.
It's really nice. That's true. That's a good point.
I did work with Jessica though briefly.
Did you qualify?
No, I've never even been to Parks. I've never been there. I don't know anything about. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I guess they're just cool. That was nice of them to honor.
It really was very cool.
Cool.
Because it was the only day that they were going to be part of the undertaking here.
Right.
Tomorrow and Sunday they won't be part of the selection. And one thing that we're noticing, Trey, we just went through the Colonial. We just went through the Colonial lineup when it came to the scratches. They're devastating scratches. These fields are going to be pretty decimated. And that's been, we'll talk about it during the week. I just wanted to say hello. But
well, thanks for warning me. I got to get back. I got to get my breakfast and get to work.
All right. All right.
I haven't looked at any of the scratches yet, so but it's not surprising though over there.
I guess I was looking at the
a lot of numbers on there.
Just put up Gulfstream.
A lot there.
Yeah, there
and
are.
it was going to rain there too. Yeah. Well,
they're still on the turf though, right?
Gulfstream.
Yeah.
I don't have it listed. Here it is. Light fog. Light rain and fog. They don't say on or off.
No, they're talking 80% chance of thunderstorms, but it's South Florida.
Yeah, it always
that's tropical. What are you going to do?
I'm in Houston. I know how that goes.
Exactly.
Rains all the time.
Both you and fellow Sharpie Nick Tamaro in the building.
Is he here somewhere?
He is somewhere. He came in last night.
He asked to borrow my charger, so I know he's here. I knew he was coming, so I don't know. He's not too prepared apparently, but yeah, he's. I knew he was coming out to spear up some Sam Houston stuff, hosting stuff. I don't really know how all that goes. We got a little party going after the races.
He does a little bit of everything at
for
Sam Houston.
All Red. If people are listening, they're here. All Red, the little bar.
Yeah, that bar right there on the street.
On the street, you just walk out of the casino and just go straight to the strip, and it's right there.
But yeah.
What's going on there?
They're having a party. It's
Sam Houston, free drinks, free snacks.
Tonight.
Come on.
SHRP, baby.
And if there's a line, tell them you know Trey, and they'll put you right there.
They'll put you at the back of the line or the front.
They'll hit you with a tray.
I don't know if they'll put, but if you tell them you're there for the party, they will let you pass the line. That place is pretty. It's pretty cool. They have live music, and it's like it's a pretty cool venue.
And the building, the one next door, that whole corridor from the hotel coming out to the street has actually it's been pretty vibrant last night. But by the way, the reports of Vegas's imminent collapse seem a little bit full of shit. From what I can tell, things are pretty busy.
It's
and pretty
hopping.
vibrant.
A lot of folks here. I can tell you that.
We will talk contest this afternoon.
All right, man. I'm here. You see me walking by, grab me.
Without fail. What number is this for you?
24.
Look at
at least that's what it said on the park screen.
24-time qualifier. Trey Styles, as we call him, the clubhouse lawyer, the original clubhouse lawyer.
What a nice man.
Absolutely terrific, and a quarter horse savant. We'll get to that in a second. The passing of Serena's song, no doubt, and the big outpouring of love for her. David Aragona, good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
There we go. Sorry about that. One of the elements of the live venue conversations is slapping a microphone in somebody's hands. David, let's before we talk any ideas and any play, what were your impressions from last week? Give us the Derby Watch update.
I mean, obviously, we've got two new contenders on the list, and the winners of those two prep races, the Puma and Patente. Taking the Tampa Bay Derby first, I think you obviously have to give the winner credit for overcoming such a wide trip, and he was legitimately very wide around those turns and able to get the job done. I don't love the way that he continues to want to lug in the stretch of his races. He's done it in every single start, and he did it in this race. He's still able to get the job done. Obviously, we want to see these horses run a little faster in the future. If you factor in the ground loss, the number is going to be a little higher. But he is a horse that you have to have some questions about added distance, just given a look at the pedigree and topped out at a mile and a 16 so far, like a lot of these horses have. But I'll be interested to see what he does in the next round prep race. It sounds like we're going to get that opportunity to see him. Further ado, ran okay. Still hasn't validated that huge, big 20-length maiden win from his 2-year-old season, but he'll have another opportunity to step forward as well. And then out west, Patente finished well. He galloped out strong. It's hard to really know what was behind him. I think we often take it for granted that even if they have small fields, that these Southern California prep races are going to feature a lot of talent. And I don't know if that's really come to fruition this year, because it feels like Baffert doesn't have the deep bench of strong 3-year-olds like he often does, and a lot of them have disappointed on the Derby trail so far. And I mean, given who was second in this race, who did run well, Robusta, but I mean, he didn't exactly have the form coming in. So I think you have to wonder how strong some of these prep races really are. But again, I mean, he's a horse who's very lightly raced Patente, and we'll get a chance to see him next time wherever Baffert seems fit to run him.
How did the I haven't had a chance to watch the video and look at the who dropped off, who got squeezed.
Yeah, so we we added the two prep winners this week. We added Denon Bourbon, the Japanese horse. It sounds
Nice.
like his prospects to qualify are pretty good in that Sukuyu Stakes. And we added the maiden winner, Cherokee Nation, who got that huge fig for Baffert. Sounds like he'll go to the Santa Anita Derby. So that's 4 horses. We dropped 3 from the San Felipe. Brandt, So Happy, and Secured Freedom. The last 2 were kind of on the fence, but I mean, they didn't run quite well enough. And then we also dropped Canaletto, who sounds like the intent isn't really Derby with him, given that he's going to go to the Lexington next. But we'll obviously keep an eye out for that news.
Very good. All right. And, of course, the Kentucky Derby drop down at DRF. And not only the watch, but pretty much everything you need in one place, including links to all the stories from around the country from the correspondents. David, let's poke around. It's kind of a unusual weekend and a Saturday with there are some spots around. We haven't even talked much about Oaklawn yet. Haven't talked about Santa Anita at all. But where's your preferred action?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just tell you the races I handicapped. And obviously, all of Aqueduct, so that's not too much to talk about at that track over the past several weeks, including this weekend. I handicapped the Virginia Derby. I handicapped the Whitmore at Oaklawn, and I handicapped the San Simeon at Santa Anita. So wherever you want to go first.
Go ahead. Let's go east to west.
All right. So the Virginia Derby, it's an interesting field. One of the bigger stakes fields of the weekend, to be honest. So that just makes it inherently interesting. By comparison, I wish I had a stronger opinion in here. Like a lot of people, I'm not thrilled by Butane. Obviously, he's a contender in this race. I question whether he's really going to get better with added ground, and I'm not somebody that thinks that this race being one turn is going to automatically make him able to get a mile and an eighth. Didn't love the way that he finished in the Southwest last time. I mean, in a lot of ways, he's the horse to beat, but given the connections, he's going to be such a short price. So I want to look elsewhere. I think both of the lightly raced horses drawn towards the middle of the pack are very interesting. High Camp, who's stretching out for the first time for Will Walden. I mean, when you watch him run, he certainly gives you some confidence that he's going to get added ground. His pedigree says that he should. So he's an intriguing horse. I picked the number 6 Lock, Stock, and Pharaoh. I wouldn't say that I love this horse. I mean, a horse who wins as impressively as he does in his first couple of starts is kind of obvious. He hasn't really beaten much, but just watching the races, especially the way he stretched out last time, it does give you some confidence that the added ground is going to be just fine for him. I'm not too worried about the surface switch. I mean, you want to see these horses do it, but it's not like he's going to be such a short price. He's got the pedigree for it. And I did go back and watch the videos from his early workouts because I was looking it up, and he was training on the dirt at Churchill prior to that debut at Turfway Park. And you could pull up the video of a couple of them on that Kentucky, I always forget the acronym, the website where the Kentucky videos are available. He had a couple workouts at Churchill, one of which was in company with the 5-year-old mare for Tom and Drury named Trial, who was stakes placed, and he easily outworked her on the dirt before his debut race. So it looks like he handled it in the morning. We'll see if he could do it in the afternoon. But I thought he was maybe the right place to go. But I didn't have that strong of an opinion, even though I'm a little against the favorite here.
Yeah, there's some alternatives for sure, and I thought Oselli, another forward move from Oselli, could impact this. Beckman with a little bit of a, I would say, disappointing weekend at Tampa last week. It's a fun group. All right, how about what'd you say, Oaklawn?
Yeah, in the Whitmore at Oaklawn. A lot of these horses we've been familiar with for a while. Tejano Twist, Wendelson, Rivet. They've been mainstays in this division at Oaklawn the past several seasons. I kind of like the new face coming in, the 4-year-old Tough Catch, number 3. I don't see a ton of speed in here. Obviously, Wendelson is fast, and he's drawn the inside, so they'll probably go with him. But, I mean, the other horse that has potential speed in this race, Rivet, he's had some trouble getting out of the gate in recent starts, and it looks like his form has tailed off a little bit, and he's not always a reliable speed. So I don't think that they're going to heat up as much up front as maybe a horse like Tejano Twist would prefer that they do. I just think Tough Catch is going to set a great trip, stalking right outside Wendelton. To me, he's come back as an improved horse since he returned from that layoff last October. He just continues to step forward. He's now second off a brief layoff going back to last fall. And I like his return race. He battled on the front end. That was a really fast opening quarter. It was a race that was mostly dominated up front, but I like the way that he finished. And I just think he makes a lot of sense in here, and he might not go favored, just given the speed figure edge that Tejano.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to NHC.
I like that. The fresh face does make plenty of sense in that spot. All right, San Simeon.
Yeah, this one's kind of a problematic race because, I mean, it's a small field and nobody is that trustworthy or really that appealing. I mean, you've got the two horses that have kind of been knocking heads in these turf sprint stakes races at Santa Anita, Sorrento Sky and Summiter. They both make sense. I'm not thrilled with either option, but they're obviously contenders in this race. A couple horses that interest me, one of which is Genius Jimmy, the number 3, who's turning back a little bit. I think I'd want better than a 3-1 morning line on him because he's got some questions to answer up the distance. But I think going a little shorter could actually work for this horse, and there is not a ton of speed in this race outside of the long shot, Kareme Pass. So he should get a pretty good trip sitting on top of what figures to be a moderate pace. So he's one horse that I left open. And the other one is Seal Team, who obviously has questions to answer coming off the layoff and another turn back. But, I mean, just in terms of pure raw ability, to me, he's the best horse in this race. And watching the workouts for his return, it does seem like Richard Mandela's got him pretty sharp for this turn back in distance. And Mandela can certainly win off layoffs like this. He actually has very good stats doing this. So even if this horse isn't ready to run his A effort, I think he could still win this race. So if that line holds up and he's a bigger price than Genius Jimmy, I'll go in that direction. But they're kind of the two that I had my eye on.
Yeah, David, being a down the hill, watching down the hill races for so many years, the turn back is always the first choice for me. And you mentioned Seal Team in there, and Dick Mandela knows that course more than anyone. Hector Barrios rides it well, so I'm glad you mentioned him in there. This 6-year-old coming off some running against some better competition, I think, and hasn't run in a while, and maybe the price goes up a little bit. So I'm glad you mentioned him.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who focus on the Southern California circuit always tout that angle that the turnbacks work. And I'll be honest, this horse probably does want to go longer down the line, but sometimes off a layoff like this, these horses can be a little sharp. And he's kind of saying that to me when you watch his workouts, that he'll be ready to not get totally outrun in this race. So we'll see, because there's just not a whole lot of speed in here. And that's the one concern with a horse like that he might just get a little too far back in the early stages.
David, before we wrap, any future wager interests?
Steve, I'm somebody who likes to get involved earlier than now in the future wager. I mean, a lot of these horses are kind of established by this point. And I mean, I guess if you have an idea about somebody who's going to come to the fore in the final round prep race, you could go for it. I kind of spent my future wager money earlier on. I got involved with Commandment in the second pool when he was like nearly 70-1. So I'm kind of waiting that one out. But I mean, looking at this pool, I'll be interested to see how they bet Renegade in here. I mean, I think he's 20-1 on the line. I've got him much shorter on my Derby Watch line. I mean, he's a horse that you could say was really flattered by the result of the Tampa Bay Derby last weekend, and he's likely to be favored in the Arkansas Derby next month, or I should say later this month. So I'll be interested to see how the bettors go for him, because I think in these future wagers at this point in time, you want to focus on the horses that are not running this weekend or didn't run last weekend, because those types typically are fresh in the minds of the bettors and get a little overbet. And you typically want to go for the horses that are maybe running in a week or two down the line and you think are going to show with big performances, because you can get sometimes overlays on those horses. So I'll have my eye on what price Renegade is, because with a big win in the Arkansas Derby, he could go on to Kentucky as one of the favorites.
And we talked extensively with Kevin Kirstein and really went through. And the other interests are the obscurities. You mentioned Dan and Bourbon. I mean, this is going to be a completely unknown quantity. And anybody that heard Kate Hunter with me, 3 weeks ago, is going to throw a little something on Dan and Bourbon. I mean, because she was gushing over him.
Yeah, I've watched his races. He finishes very strongly. I think both two turn efforts on the dirt in Japan, I think he's come home the final 3 furlongs or 600 meters in like 36 and change each time, off some slower paces. So we'll see what he ultimately lines up against in the Fukuryu. But it sounds like he's going to be a big favorite in there. So, I mean, it just sounds like his chances of qualifying out of that race are pretty good, and that just gets you automatically into the Derby starting gate if the connections want to go. And based on that interview, which I did listen to, it sounds like they would want to go to the Derby. So, I mean, probably isn't the worst bet if that price holds up. But I mean, I don't know, Steve. I mean, I could see him closing at 20-1 in this pool, which maybe wouldn't be such a great price. But I'll be interested to see where that money goes when the pool opens.
Hey, Dave, one quick question for you, as you guys do follow this Derby more than anyone. On the points, right now we got Paladin with 60, and if you go down to the 20th, it's 20 points. What's your call? If you had to make a call now, what are we, 7 weeks out? You think how many points it's going to take to get in that gate?
You know, it's funny because each year you get past that final round of prep races, and it's looking like, you know, sometimes as much as 50 points is going to be the cutoff. It never really turns out to be that way because there are always inevitable detections in the 2 weeks leading up to the race, connections that realize that they shouldn't be running, or horses not training to satisfaction. So, I mean, the cutoff generally has been, you know, somewhere in the 30 to 40 point range. Some years have gone lower than that. So I imagine it's going to be similar this year, but obviously it's going to be something to pay attention to. But I mean, just looking at the list at this point, and I was highlighting this when I did our video with Dave Gretting this week, I was looking back over the last decade to see where winners of the Kentucky Derby were at this point in time in the points race in their respective seasons. And going back over the last 10 years, there are only 3 Derby winners that had gotten as many as 50 points by the middle of March. I think American Pharaoh, Mandaloon, and Sovereignty are the 3. So these horses can come to the fore in their final round prep races. We've seen that happen quite a bit on the Kentucky Derby trail. So a lot can change between now and the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, you seem to see a lot more all-ins. Like, let's just take one shot, and if we're in, we're in. If we're not, we'll move on. It's a tough thing to predict, and I didn't want to put you on the spot. But yeah, somewhere between 30 and 40, right? It's probably going to be.
That's what I'm thinking.
David, what about the fillies? This is the lone pool for the Oaks fillies, and there's a couple on the top of the list, but after that, it gets very, very murky.
Yeah, I find it so much harder to have an opinion about these horses because we just don't see them prep as extensively as we do with the males. Obviously a horse like Zany is kind of exciting just based on the visual impression she's made winning her races. You want to see her run a little faster in the final round prep race, I think, in the Ashland, but I thought that she ran well enough given the circumstances and what was probably being required of her in the Suncoast. So, I mean, to me, she's one of the leading contenders. Among the horses that are prepping at fairgrounds, I thought Bella Ballerina, I mean, she fought gamely. You could argue she was a little with the track profile in the Rachel Alexandra. I thought Just Singing, who's closing belatedly in there, she's a horse who might be able to do better in her next prep race. The Virginia Oaks actually came up mildly interesting among the top 3 in there, so I'll be interested to see how that one plays out. But nobody's running that fast. I mean, I guess Explorer is kind of the consistent one who's danced all the dances and has shown up every time, but I mean, she's kind of in that same boat where she's topped out in the mid to high 80s buyers so far. So I think the final round prep races are going to determine a lot. A horse who I think is one of the more likely winners of the Oaks at this point that maybe isn't getting talked about that way just yet is the horse that just won the Devona Dale at Gulfstream, She Be Smooth. I know she's only got a 1-turn mile so far, but she strikes me as a horse that is just crying out for 2 turns. And I'll be interested to see where Pletcher runs her next. I guess a race like the Gazelle would suit her pretty well, but I haven't heard reporting on where she's going to go.
David Aragona, everybody, horse to watch on your Twitter and, of course, in DRF, in the pages of the DRF and online, drf.com. David, good luck this weekend. And you got anybody you're following closely in the contest? I don't know if anybody's aware. I knew Kenny Peck had qualified, and we're going to talk to Kenny. He actually promised that he will make an appearance. But I found out late yesterday, Ronnie Goldfeder, who used to do What Was I Thinking? We had a great segment when he did that column. Lonnie qualified, and he is here. And Lonnie Goldfeder, one of the lesser-known great opinions around the game.
Lonnie's fantastic. He's a really nice guy. My interactions with him, I mean, same goes for Kenny. I'll definitely be rooting for my dear colleagues out there, and just want to wish luck to everybody out at NHC. It's an interesting task, I imagine, this weekend, Steve, with the wagering menu, because a lot more smaller fields than I imagine they've had in the past.
Yep.
So it might be difficult to get that separation that you look for in the contest format.
100%, and that was evident yesterday, even in the last chance, first chance. Very, the scores were, inching upward in small increments, 7-2s, 4-2s, the occasional, 9-2, 6-1. But for the most part, it was kind of a grinded out day, and the numbers were maybe 25% below what was anticipated. But yeah, two big DRF contestants involved here with both Kenny Peck, the longtime Monmouth and Jersey-based lead handicapper, and the creator of my favorite quick sheets, which I can't live without, and Lonnie Goldfeder, who is behind the scenes at DRF and really, keeps the train on the track in so many ways. David, thank you.
Yep, good luck to you and everybody out of the NHC, Steve.
David Aragona, folks. Hammer, we're waiting for Nick Tamro. Nick on his way from upstairs. We'll get Rich Eng in as well in the last 25 minutes. You mentioned Serena's song, and boy, there was a real reaction yesterday when word spread that she had passed.
Well, boy, you think of D. Wayne Lucas, and of course, among the Derby horses, of course, but you also think fillies about her with him. And Lady Secret, I mean, she ran so many times too, and ran against the boys. But Serena's song, I mean, I was fortunate enough to see her run numerous times at various locations, especially in the East. But she came to Monmouth Park and won the Haskell in the 90s, I think 95. And I tell you what, that building was electric. Just the fact that she was going to come and run and then have her win it was crazy. But when you think about Serena's song, she ran 38 times in three of her racing years, 2, 3, and 4. She won 11 Grade 1 races. She had 24 races where her buyer was over 100. That is just incredible. She ran against males numerous times, like I mentioned. Got to see her win the Haskell. Actually, she ran in the last time the Island was a Grade 1. She ran there and got beat by Smart Strike. And I don't know. It's just I can just remember. I can see her races and just a throwback. Fit perfectly with Wayne. And looking at her lifetime PP is just one of those crazy things. Her first race was a jockey was on her that never rode her again. You think of Secretariats of the World and the Zenyatas and Holy Bull had that. Shane Sellers rode her the first time out at Churchill Downs and never got back on her again. Just interestingly enough, but she was. Anyone that was around watching races in the 90s, you bring her name up and you'll just stop them in their tracks and tell a story about Serena's song. But she really hit home for me, and I just was bringing up her PPs and looking at them. She's just one of the most competitive fillies you'll ever see.
Lived to 34, which is
unheard of,
pretty wild. And what's interesting too about her, that and the Blood Horse, it was basically a press release from Denali Stud, and Craig Banderoff wrote a very bittersweet and kind and heartfelt goodbye from his family. And obviously Bob and Beverly Lewis campaigned, but she's a rare Hall of Famer, a filly and / mare that then went to the into a broodmare career that ended up being, outstanding. And they identified her as with the moniker Blue Hen. So to be a champion racehorse and then to be able to continue the production and the output in the shed says a lot.
Just one of a kind. And like you mentioned, 34 years old. When I read that, it really just strikes you as she belongs just up there on the pinnacle, and she is.
At the same time, she doesn't necessarily get isn't mentioned as often. Probably, I don't want to call her a horse that time forgot, but so much when you have a Hall of Famer. But maybe her, I don't know. Maybe her name, for whatever reason, doesn't come up as often as you would think.
It has been 30 years, but the fact that she did start a career, she started a career in Kentucky, but spent a lot of time in California and peeled off a bunch of wins there, but then did go east. I mean, she just won a ton of races. I mean, like I said, she won the Haskell, she won the Santa Monica. I mean, she won the Fleur de Lis. I mean, she just won her last 11 races. She had a buyer over 100. She went out in style, and again, I just can't say enough about her and just the aura she gave off. I remember that day at Monmouth Park that people were just going crazy at the first filly ever to win the Haskell. But she was something special.
Serena's Song, and in terms of some of the progeny, big multiple winners. I mean, Serena's Tune and Harlington. People might remember. Grand Reward. Grand Reward was won $500,000. In fact, she had. Let me count this up: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She had eight of her 12 progeny made six figures or more. She also had the horse that Spark Candle that campaigned in Japan, 24 million yen. But for the most part, they all made the races. There were four of her progeny didn't really do much. And I'd have to go look at some of the daughters and see what they've gone on to do. But Serena's Song, and where'd she finish in the Derby?
16th.
So
you got to remember, she would have been 3-2 in the Oaks, and they decided to try to take the Derby. Coming up into that race, she had come off. She won the Grade 1 Hollywood Starlet, the San Ynez at Santa Anita, the Grade 1 Las Virgenes, the Grade 1 Santa Anita Oaks. She decided to go to the stop off at the Jim Beam and win that, and they decided to go into the Kentucky Derby. And she rebounded right from that. She came back, 2 weeks later and won the Black Eyed Susan by 9 and went on to win the Mother Goose. I mean, just a phenomenal career.
In that, and for those that heard the Jim Beam, the Spiral, the GalleryFurniture.com, the Jeff Ruby, that edition in '95, she beat Tahano One, who of course would finish second in the Derby behind Thunder Gulch. She beat Mecki as well with my man Willie Martinez. Who else was in there? Those were the two principals. She was under even money. She was
in the Jim Beam.
In the Jim Beam, yeah. I mean that's how respected she was coming into that. Black Eyed Susan, Mother Goose, the Haskell, as you mentioned. Who'd she beat in the Haskell?
She beat Pyramid Peak, and that was a John Ward.
You know what?
Trainee, I believe.
I think we were there. I think my buddy Phil and I got it. I for some reason that the 90s are a bit of a blur. But yeah, Pyramid Peak, City Deed, Swab Prospect, Wild Sin. And there, too, she was favored. She was 3-2 favorite. Gary Stevens got on her there. In fact, I've got a picture of Stevens on her. Corey Nakatani rode her successfully, right?
Prior to that. And then Stevens had a long run. And then Jerry Bailey got a little in, won the Hempstead. And I was trying to think, what's the Hempstead? What's that called now?
The Hempstead is the Hempstead. I think the Hempstead actually changed. The Hempstead might have been one of the ones that was switched over.
Because it was the Morris too. They had the Hempstead.
Might have been one of the ones that was changed to not the Mesquite. Mesquite became the Gopher One. Maybe the Phipps is maybe the Ogden Phipps.
Could be. And actually, looking at this, the Hempstead's the last race that she did win. She continued to run about 7 or 8 more times after that, but that was the last race she ran.
Rich Yang is going to join us. I'm waiting for Nick Tamaro to come down. So rather than wait for Nick, let me get Rich in. I'm guessing that Nick will show up for the last few minutes of the show. And Rich, I've already explained that we're not going to see you here to join in the coverage. But I know you had dinner the other night with a crew, and I'm sure any number of your longtime friends will connect with you, over the weekend. But we're sorry not to have you here.
Well, I thank your kind words, Steve, and hi, Rick Hammer. But
hi, Rich.
It's kind of an emotional week for me. Considering what happened last year at this time, and so I'm just gonna sit this one out.
I get it, but that doesn't mean you're sitting out the action. And we'll talk a lot more in the next 3 weeks with some multiple visits, of course, for the NCAA's, where you've got to be zeroing in this weekend in addition to the whatever racing action, Rich, as your Santa Anita analysis, RayLasVegas.com. But I'm sure you're going to watch these conference championships and start to formulate your attack plan for the NCAA's.
Well, I've been doing my homework, and I can't remember if I mentioned on another show, I do have 4 future book tickets in my pocket on college basketball. I have Michigan, I've got Florida, I got UConn, I got St. John's. St. John's in particular, I have it 60-1, and that's my alma mater, so I love to see them go forward. But I've been watching the games, and it's so great watching the action on the court, and the fact that for so many of these teams, this could be their final game of the season. Cinderella has danced once in a while, maybe not as often as in previous years, because the NIL has really changed the landscape of college sports, and the fact that teams now can really load up, especially the big Power 5 conferences can really load up on players. So there may be less Cinderellas this year than ever before.
I want to get on Sunday. I want to get a couple of bracket busters from you for sure. Now, one question: are you wearing your Hartford Whalers shirt?
I've got that in the drawer, but brings back some fond memories of Hartford Whalers hockey at the Civic Center.
Still a very popular jersey they out there. That was what was it, about 2-3 weeks ago? I guess before the Olympic break. Carolina had I think it was Colorado came in, and the two of them wore Nordique and Whaler jerseys, and I wanted to throw up, to be honest. It's just a little offensive, that they would be out there trying to promote jersey sales of two franchises that they essentially, foisted. It just anyway. Rich will obviously
and also remember our good friend Bob Newmeyer was the voice of the Hartford Whalers for a while.
Well, Newmy and I over the years, I couldn't have Newmy on the show without a reference to the whale and of course to the unbelievably still famous fight with the Minnesota Fighting Saints, the playoff fight that
the brawl in the mall.
The brawl in the mall is right, and it lives in infamy on YouTube. And I've got a 45, which has got the Whaler song Brass Bonanza on one side, and then it's got like 4 minutes of the commentary with Numi as they watch the fights breaking out all over the ice, and Nick Fatiu and Bill Butters and oh my God, just the most Jack Abramson and not Jack Abramson. It was the two brothers, the goalie and the other one.
Carlson, I remember.
But I don't think they were there yet. I don't think they were involved in that. I'd have to go back and listen. It's been a while, but yeah, we would discuss it all. Whenever Numi was on, the rest of the piece. Rich, what do you think? Who are you rooting for in here? Who are some of your favorite buddies that are in the field this week?
Well, the main contingent is headed up by my New Jersey Goombas. Kenny Jordan is in there, and a bunch of Sean Nolan and some of the other fellas. But they'll all be sitting in a table or two all next to each other. So I'll be texting back and forth with them and rooting them on. In my heart, I hope to see some of them make the final table. That'd be kind of fun.
Exactly. Well, we'll track it, and let's also get a couple of ideas. Hey, John Lindo, popping his head. Rich, how about some ideas for the next couple of days? What do you got?
Yeah, I'll give out real quick. I know you got another guest coming on. I'll give out two horses and two teams. Let's go to Aqueduct, race number 7. I like the number 6 horse, Iris Jackson. Flavion Pratt riding in this horse should get a stalking trip in the finish. So Aqueduct, race 7, number 6. Then St. Anita in the 5th race, and I like a drop-down horse, number 5, Good Golly Dolly. Evil Lescano riding for Doug O'Neill. You get that steep drop in class from maiden special out of maiden claiming 20. And with this horse going long for the first time, I think this horse should be forwardly placed for O'Neill and going a mile and 2 turns. So those are 2 horse ideas. As far as 2 basketball players for today, I like Nebraska and Purdue in the Big Ten tournament in Chicago. They have Purdue as a 4-point favorite, but I really like Nebraska. I would sprinkle some pizza money on the money line that Nebraska wins straight up. But I like the Nebraska Cornhuskers plus the 4 over Purdue. And the game out of the MAC with Miami of Ohio getting upset by UMass yesterday. Akron becomes the number 1 target to win the MAC conference. They are playing against Kent State. They're favored by 7.5, but I don't think that's enough. They played earlier this year and they blew out Kent State by 20. I think Akron's the better team, so we'll go for Akron over Kent State, Nebraska over Purdue.
Got it. Nice. So a little bit of hoop, and we get our first taste. And you and Dave Hill and Craig Dato will waltz us through those next 3 weeks. Give me that Santa Anita race again, because I was slow getting to it.
Yeah, number 5. It's a mile, a maiden 20. Big drop down horse number 5. Good Golly Dog. Abel Escano riding for Doug O'Neill.
There it is. Good. 3-1 for Rich in the 5th race tonight. We'll be on the air for that at Santa Anita. Rich, I appreciate it, and we're thinking about you all the time. We'll talk next week.
Okay, fellas. Good luck, and good luck to all the players at the end of the day this week.
Rich Ang for Pro Pick, of course, and
it's great to hear Rich's voice.
Yeah, it's very tough. The exact 1-year anniversary on Wednesday of her passing, and it's been a tough year for him. Nick Tamaro is here, and this came as a little bit of a surprise last week when you texted me and you said, I'm coming out. I'll be out there. And we just saw Trey in the last hour as well. Who's the Sharpie in residence?
4th straight day of getting a full-time job, I would assume. I don't see why anybody wouldn't want to hire him. But, yeah, he's calling the races. But I'm taking the red eye back tonight so I can call the races tomorrow. I can't have him get too comfortable.
Well, We could point them in the direction maybe of a job or two. The
open ones or not?
Well, the
wish they were open ones.
It's great that you popped out here.
Yeah, it's sort of like going back to the high school prom after you've graduated when you didn't qualify. So it feels a little weird in that respect. But I didn't play any NHC qualifiers last year and really played a limited amount anyway, just with time and whatnot. But now that I'm racing full time, I should have more opportunities. I'm going to go up to Lone Star Memorial Day and try and get my way back into it because this is fun. I sort of laugh at the people on social media that want to mock it and do that, and they would do virtually anything to be in it. And that's
nobody in the room is mocking it.
No, not at all.
It's the ones that wish they were here.
Exactly. So, it's a spectacle for sure, and it's obviously lives up to the billing when you've played in it. It's exciting. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult. I think I'm 8 times and twice cashed, so it's a hard contest. I never felt completely prepared. Right, because you never do,
and you learn. There's nuance each time you come. There's something like an added layer of of experience and circumstance. But at the same time, it's a moving target, Nick, and we're seeing particularly. I'm not even going to. You don't even have to get to late odds changes as part of the conversation. You can just talk about field size, basically depressing the prices, because even if the third choice wins, it might be 4-1.
Right.
And we saw that yesterday in the first chance, last chance.
Yeah, I think the smartest thing I said to myself in 23, which was the last year I played, was that 5-1 is the new 15-1. And you look through the races on a daily basis, and obviously I look at a ton of races. There aren't the opportunities to find prices that there were 15, 20 years ago. We don't have the field size, we don't have the availability, and it's just not there. So you have to dial it back a little bit. If you plan on spending 2 days here chasing cap horses, you're going to have a lot of disappointment.
Even just last year and this year, that cutoff number might go down 10%.
Yeah, no, I think it could even go down more than that potentially as well. So you get some weather in South Florida, which today they're off the turf. If
they are off the turf,
he just announced that.
If that persists tomorrow, then you're looking at one of the more competitive circuits not really being at that level. So really, really difficult for people. And, what you can do along the way, I think the best thing I ever did was try and build some momentum on Friday or build some momentum Saturday, depending on how Friday went. Get a winner or two in there, even if they might be a slightly shorter price. But I was never somebody that really tries to chase 12 or 15-1 shots. I'm comfortable finding 8-1 shots, 10-1 shots, somewhere in that range. So I think you can do that as long as you have to have a little bit higher level of frequency. But then there's the whole 2 entry versus 1 entry conversation, which can get difficult as well. And you are supposed to probably try and maximize what you have on both entries where you can do that too.
We'll talk contest during the afternoon. How late are you staying?
I'm staying all day today.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So we will get you on for sundry conversation points later. Let's talk about the weekend and anything that caught your eye.
Yeah, we just did a late pick 5 preview show on Colonial, Callie Francois and I, and that went very well. I think the Virginia Derby really have much of a reason not to. I don't love taking horses off poor performances in the prior start, especially with no real excuse. This is a good horse, right? And a horse that had shown he had some ability as a year-old. So I think he's going to bounce back. I don't really want the favorites in there. I don't trust Butane, mile and an eighth. I don't completely trust that Confessional is a horse that really graded stake rate.
Is with Steve Byk on
Sirius. Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions and offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. bet all day and night nationwide. Get the action in pro horse racing with Naira Bets. $200 deposit match with promo Steve200. Visit NairaBets.com for details.
Horses power Virginia's economy, creating over 38,000 good, fulfilling jobs every year. Think about the farmers, the farriers, the feeders, the athletes, trainers, drivers, and jockeys, caretakers and landscapers, investors and interns, veterinarians, restaurant owners, restaurant workers, tour guides, trail
I would
guides,
bet against the Brad
equine
Cox horse in there. I'm very skeptical of the Fairgrounds filly form. Maybe save Bella Ballerina and what she does next week.
Well, and that race has come up repeatedly this morning. Actually, it's kind of funny you mentioned it because just singing with the Oaks Derby future wager opportunity. You got any interest in that?
I wish I had a better opinion in the Oaks. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'd probably try She Be Smooth if she was a big price. I know she got a big setup last time at Gulfstream, but she's really cut out for 2 turns. She's also a horse that doesn't train that great, so I think that's why she was a good price in both her debut and second time out. But 10-1 on the morning line's a little light relative to what I would want. Counting Stars, I think, is dangerous as well. Mark seems to have gotten her right after that bad effort in the Martha Washington, and he admitted he had no idea what happened. So the fact that she bounced back the way she did, I think, is a good sign. I don't think Explorer is really going to go on distance-wise. I think Explorer is going to win the test.
It's probably good.
The long-range future on that. You got a book on that?
I love that.
Market?
I love that. That's the area. I suppose that's the area where the prediction markets might actually have
dirty phrase nowadays.
For sure. Might have an opportunity. What about those 2 Sandy Bottoms? Back to Colonial for a minute.
I like her laugh in the first one. So
interesting.
I thought she was on the rail a little too much opening day at Santa Anita. No setup last time at all at 7/8. Now goes a mile. I think the mile's a better fit. I love the outside draw with Johnny. And I didn't have a big opinion in the second one. I thought the favorite looked relatively solid. And I like Steez in the nightcap. I'm very, very heavy on Riley Mott tomorrow, so it'd be a good day for Riley Mott to have a good day.
Well, we saw Riley. In fact, it's coming down the elevator at the Hilton in Ocala, and door opens, and there's Riley Mott. Right.
Well, the key part of that equation, Steve, is you could be anywhere. Right. We're firmly in the Bick Across America tour.
I am going to actually.
You don't ever have to worry about the weather in Greenwich because you're never there.
But I'm pumped. Yes. Sleaze is the 2 in that nightcap. 9.
Sleaze is more like the kind of horse I would like. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's not Sleaze. We got to pull up.
Yeah.
We'll get you for the afternoon session.
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right. 3:30 to 8:30.
Eastern
okay. Time. 3:30 to 8:30 tonight until we have a day 1 winner. We'll take plenty of races live for you. Should be a lot of fun. Want to thank Nick for coming. Glad he's here. Aragona, Trey Styles popped in. James Scully, of course. KK up at Turfway. Keith Shamblin with the Amir. And a couple of little date amendments. And Callie Francois started us off. Well, she didn't start because Keith actually came early. So she was after. Keith, we will talk to you at 3:30 as we get underway. Just about 2 minutes off, and actually Laurel's kicking off as well. Actually, longer than that, 12:50 at Gulfstream. Laurel will be the first day, and we're a minute from the Cheltenham Gold Cup.
With Steve Byk on Sirius XM Radio.
You betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions and offer Bennington racing experts. Bet all day and night nationwide through horse racing with Naira Bets. $200 deposit match with promo Steve Byk. Naira Bets.
Horses power Virginia's economy, creating over 38,000 good, fulfilling jobs every year. Think about the farmers, the athletes, trainers, drivers, and jockeys, caretakers and landscapers, investors and interns, veterinarians, restaurant owners, restaurant workers, tour guides, trail guides, equine therapists, and so many more. Now that's horsepower. Virginia's economy wins with horses.
The Pennsylvania breeding program is the best program in the country. The stallion awards, the owner bonuses, also the restricted races and the stakes races for Pennsylvania breeders. Last year, 321 Pennsylvania Breeders Awards. 22 Pennsylvania breeders earned over $100,000. We have the best programs to take advantage of the fantastic that we have. Learn more at PABread.com.
Nothing compares to a horse. They greatness, command respect. Because Virginia's horse industry isn't just racing and farming. It's built on the skills, labors, and passions dedicated people working in every industry through our state. Horses fuel the economy, create jobs, support thousands, even make dreams come true. Virginia's economy wins. Find out more at VirginiaHorseRacing.com.